7-day addiction.
Live.
You gotta put this on it?
Yeah, you can put that on.
Just so you can hear.
Hey, it's already on.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
on.
we're
So,
good to go.
so y'all gotta watch what you're saying right now. So there's a little bit of a delay right here with what's going on behind us. It's probably about 20, 30 seconds
15 to be exact.
delay. So yeah, 15 seconds roughly. So, but there we go. So let's go ahead. Rogelio, will you help us out too? Will you move the rod out of the way here too, please?
So we gotta keep it PG or G?
It's actually there's no. You can say whatever you want to say. If it gets
We're gonna edit it anyway.
Yeah, if it gets too out of hand, then we'll stop. If there's any fist fighting, then we'll let that play. But what's up, guys? Actually, so we're gonna get started. So what's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in. We got a few people here watching us already. They've been waiting. I mean, people have been building this up, man. People have been asking us, "Oh, what's going to happen? What's going to go on?" And really, like, we're here to show that we're all part of the fishing community. It doesn't matter where you're from, who you are, what you do. We're all part of one big family, and we all just love to fish, and we build and get together around that and drink some beers around that. So, So what's up, guys? This is episode 13 already, dude. Fuck, it's gone by really fast here over the last few months. Really, this is really. I remember our first time it was like our quality and our videos were all pretty crappy, and now we've actually got some decent equipment and some decent followers. But yeah, so this is the Art of Fishing Show, episode number 13, and today we're talking about fishing gear. So, I mean, and it's a good time to talk about fishing gear. It's hunting season just ended. Boat shows and fishing shows are right coming up in a few weeks, and we've been talking about that. We're getting ready. You guys are getting ready, and people want to know, what do we need to get? What do we need to buy? And, what should we be looking for coming in here in the next few weeks? So all of you guys know my guest here, but I'll go and introduce right here. We've got Joe from Hook, Line, and Sinker. What's up?
Hello, everybody.
Camera's over there, Joe.
Right there.
Oh, we look that way when we talk?
I'm
Yeah,
looking at myself.
you can look at me. Yeah, you can look at there, whatever.
It's because you're pretty.
Pretty ugly, yeah, pretty. And then we got Fred over here from the Tackle Box
What's
representing.
going on, guys?
Fabian and myself, and yeah, let's go ahead and get right started into it. So thanks, guys, for coming out here. I know we've been talking about doing this for several weeks now, and we've been running around the holidays and really busy around that, and we finally kind of, not to say that we're not busy, but it's a kind of a little time here, and we're starting late because you guys are so busy, right, at your shops and doing that. So let's go ahead and just kind of jump right into it here. So really what we want to talk about today is, what should people be looking for? What are good things? What are good values? You guys see it the most. You guys have people come in day after day, and a lot of people come in here asking you for advice around reels, rods, lures, gear, and really, so just really want to kind of get started off here. And I guess, we have several reels here, so let's go ahead and start off with reels here.
Well, like what you were saying about value-wise, you really don't have to get something very expensive to have something decent to start off with. Fred and I have been talking about that. Start off our customers with something in about the $75, $80 budget that you don't have to go in there and spend $200, $300 like the big companies want you to do.
Yeah.
Actually, we talked about it. Fred and I were talking about it. And it's a good combo, which is like the Sienna that we both carry at the shop, and the Daiwa Laguna rod. Actually, now with the new Sienna,
we have one here, right? Is this one right here?
Yeah, it actually matches very well. Two different brands, but I mean they're both red and black.
The color combination is
good. The color combination is outstanding on that. Here's the new updated version of the Sienna, which they added in the 3000. They added 19-pound drag.
That's 3000.
Yeah.
That looks pretty small right there. Like
Small.
Well, the Shimano's 25 and 3s are identically the same. All they do is say spool cut inside, and they give you a T handle on the 3000.
okay.
But in certain cases, the 25 has the 9 drag, and this one, the 3000, they moved it up to 19. So for 30-something bucks, this is actually a really good value.
30-something bucks.
Wow, the combo, something that we both carry. And
well, the combo's not $30.
Yeah, and it's a good combo. Like we were talking about, something easy, something that you can buy, and we have them there in Harlingen and both of the shops, and it's I've seen Fred promote that combo. I promote that combo. It's just it's a great combo for the value. Let's
Yeah,
put it that way.
So the reel is $39, and I'm gonna take off this paper off the rod if that's all right.
Yeah, actually, I don't know why they come like that.
And if you want me to put it back,
No.
I'll put it
Well,
back
I
in.
mean,
But you just bought it.
I just bought it now.
you have some Scotch tape.
There you go.
You know?
Yeah, right there. So this is actually a really nice rod. So I can see it here. It's light. It feels pretty good right here. And so what does this rod cost?
It retails for $39.99.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so the combo, I guess we put a little deal together. They've done it, we've done it. You put it together, we give you a little bit, $10, $15
But
off.
retail price on the combo is $80. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't really.
You'd be under 80. The thing is that it's a good combo to start off with. The Siennas, it's actually something that a lot of people use right now. Even guides buy those things because I mean they'll last. I mean they put a bidding on them and they'll last a whole year for their customers.
Now, on that note that you're saying they'll last, so let's say a first-time fisherman goes in there, you're saying, you don't have to go and buy a $200 reel. But if they buy their $200 reel, is that a reel that you think is going to last for a lot longer than something like this? Or,
That depends on maintenance.
Okay.
And how you take care of it. Because if you're one of the guys that gets home and just throws it in the back of the truck, leaves it there, I mean, saltwater damage. I mean, our saltwater down here, it doesn't have pity for anything.
Yeah.
So, you can take a reel like this, keep it maintenance, service, and it'll last you. It could last you a couple of years.
But I mean,
just as good
depending
as
on how much fishing you're doing.
inexpensive.
Yeah. At $39, so I mean, you just like.
I know.
The guides call them throwaways because they'll use them for about a year.
But
And-
that's a guide using them, right?
Yeah,
That's
that's what I'm saying. So
Five
they've
times
been put
a
to the
week.
test.
Yeah.
And that's because the older ones, I think the drag pound was like 6 pounds or 8 pounds on it.
Yeah, it was
So
somewhere around
it was
there.
like 6 to 8 pounds. So this one, I mean, it holds a 20-pound drag, which is what you want.
Yeah.
Because that means when your red's pulling, it's gonna hold up more in your bearings. So
gonna
that's what
handle
you
it.
want. It's gonna be able to handle it without loosening the top or your spool.
So this is someone who doesn't want to spend a lot.
It's for
stay-
anybody. I
for
mean,
anybody.
I use them. I have
Use
some of those in stock
Okay.
that I use myself. So.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a guide. It doesn't have to be a first-time fisherman. It's just something that's economical that'll help you get out there without breaking the bank. And then from there you can upgrade. Like Joe has that other Stratic. Then you can make your decision from there what you want to do and how you want to custom or do
Like
a
the one-
rod.
Yeah, the one, I'm looking. I saw this from far away, right? And it looked like some of the black rods that I've seen, or some of the black reels that I've seen in the past. But looking at this, it's got like a metallic, like a marble type finish. It actually looks like the nasty body,
Looks
like
a Stratic.
it actually looks like a Stratic, or it actually looks really nice from far away, and it's pretty light,
It
and
is very light.
it's not. And so yeah, if you told me this was a $40 reel, would it's like what? I wouldn't believe you. It's like yeah.
Wow,
So-
that's pretty good.
So this is kind of the first. This is the first tier, $40. This is where people go. I'm sure you're selling a lot of these right now, especially when you pair it up with this rod. I mean, it sounds like I can feel them already individually, and I can imagine what they feel like putting them together here is. And seems like it's a good way to get people into it, and as well, like you said, just all around type rods, and just keep them in there and keep them with your boat, and yeah, just going out there. So. All right, so this is your first your first reel. So what's someone says, all right, well I want to spend a little bit more. I want to upgrade. I'm not looking for maybe the Sienna. What's like the next reel that you guys are recommending or pushing, or have a lot of success with? That's kind of that same thing, right? It's gonna last a long time. They're tough and they're quality reels.
Don't you have a Nasi back there?
Yeah, we have a
Wanna
Nasi.
bring it?
Yeah, can you?
I think that'd be the next step up.
Yeah, here you go.
I think this would be the next step up from anything. I mean, this is the 3000's a 6.2. This is a 2500. But
It's got the 5 on it though. 5.
yeah, I it's my opinion. Like I said, this is my opinion. I don't look too much for the 6.2 or the 5 for the reason that only makes difference when you're really sight casting.
Well, why do you say that?
Or when you're drifting, because the 6.2 you're bringing in more yards as you turn. I mean, I don't know the specs on it, but I think this one would be like
5.0.
30. I think it's 36 inches
Yeah.
of line you're bringing in with every turn. So if you're sight casting, yeah, you want to be able to bring it in faster.
So that's just in general. If you're
It's in
side
general,
casting,
so-
you want to bring a faster.
The theory
retrieve.
with that 6.2, it's a good it's good, but it's mainly what Joe spec'd out on that reel. It's mainly the spool size is what you're looking at,
Yeah.
Okay.
because you can put more line on it. So the 3000, you're gonna get more line on it.
Hold on, let me just see here. We're getting something here with the audio really quick. Let me just check into this really quick. Hey, Carlos, I just turned it up here on our side here, so let us know if this sounds any better, or if it still sounds pretty low. So, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Okay. I think this one runs around $99, $100 and change, depending on which one you get. They have the 2,500 and the 3,000. This would be your next step up.
So what's the difference between a $40 rod and, or sorry, I keep saying I'm calling rods because I maybe had too many beers, but whatever. But let's say maybe had too much water a little while ago before that. But yeah. So what's the difference between this $40 reel and the next tier of a $100 reel?
Your ball bearings.
The number of ball bearings.
Yeah,
or?
I think this one's a 3. You got 3 bearings and you got 3 ball bearings in one. I believe this one's like 9. So your ball bearings get upgraded. Your bearings are, of course, a little bit better.
And having more bearings is important because
it gives you
just a smoother.
It's got a better, like Fred said, it's got more bearings for sure, and it's got a better bearing system as well as that one, I believe.
So it's got more bearings, and the bearings themselves are better bearings as well.
And also what this the NASCII. Sometimes people say NASCII. Sometimes
I call them NASCII.
Yeah. I still don't know the proper name to be quite honest with you. Also, it's got a dual seal. It's got a seal on the top, seal on the bottom, and 2 on the side. Makes it a little bit better for your salt water, or not salt water, but literally like getting it dunked or whatever. Yeah. Versus a Sienna that is not sealed.
Okay.
It doesn't have the seals on it, so like Fred said, that one you probably have to do a little bit more maintenance on it, but other than that, I mean, you're going to the next level. You're going to the $100 reel that's actually, also with the 20-pound drag.
So bearings, seals, drag. So on all these reels, are the drag systems relatively the same, or do they start changing as you start evolving and kind of paying more for more expensive reels?
They start changing when you get into this class. The drag system.
Okay, so
it's mainly the components in the drag.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, as far as the components in the drag, they get a little bit more, I guess, systematic, if you want to call it. It's just the way it's put together. It's different. Okay. It's got a different ball bearing system in it on the top.
And I also heard some people or some companies say, the ball bearings are withstand the salt water better and so forth. So what's the difference in what that's made out of and what these are made out of?
They got the NASCII's got sealed stainless steel, and so does Sienna's, but it's just the way they're sealed basically, and that's basically the only difference. It's got, it's not the same bearing, actually. Honestly, if you open it up, it's a different bearing on it. But that's where you get the price differential from 30 something to $99.99 or whatever. It's just a little bit better quality reel. It as they go up, like Fred said, the drag. And he made a good point. Right here is where the drag really changes.
So there is a big jump between a $40 reel and $100. So kind of what I'm getting is that maybe there's not a big jump between like a 40 and maybe a 60 or a $70 reel, but once you kind of get to that $100 mark, you're talking about a different class.
It's a bigger jump. Yeah, if you go for the next one, like the next one will be the Katana, the $10 more, and then they go like 10, 10, 10. Not too much of a difference, but that was a good point that he brought up. Going from like a 40, and then going to that reel, and makes a big. It's a little bit. It's a better reel. I mean.
And so between these two, what do you guys see is more frequently? Are people picking up the Siennas or the NASCIIs? Which ones do people are preferring? I mean, are people willing to pay the additional $60 for that NASCII because it's just that much better of a reel?
Yeah, I think they do. I mean, it's just the fishermen themselves. Most of the guys that do a lot of wading and that do not off a boat necessarily itself, but that do wading like off of the shorelines and stuff. They're already kind of experienced, so they know what they're looking for. So they want something that's a little better sealed. So they'll get into something like this,
okay,
rather than something like this. Then again, some guys they prefer these, just because they've used them forever. And like I said, they're not bad. They've lasted through. These just got a little touch up and they got a little bit boost in the bearings and
they look nice too, man. I remember seeing them back and they look really cheap, really plastic.
Even the old Siennas were a hit. I mean, those things they still sell. People still look for the older ones,
really,
because they're used to them.
Okay.
So I would say it's just a preference for the person that wants to use
So if
it.
you got like an Otiano, put it up on eBay, and you could probably
You can still get your $20 for it, I'm sure.
Hold on to it for about a couple of years.
people are like, I want that. I don't know what color they were, but whatever.
I mean, I still see guys that actually they'll use them and they'll sell them at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And they sell them and they sell.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I freak out when he's right on that. I was like, $25 for a used computer.
but
I'll take it. You know, you hear that guy take it. Where do I meet?
Yeah, Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist are great things. So
Yeah, I've seen that happen, man. So it's pretty funny, man. That this, you know, he used it for 6 months and he'll sell it for $5 less.
Now, one thing I've noticed is on both of them, and then you have another one over there, all Shimano. Is that something that y'all carry completely, or is there a reason?
I think it's just something we picked. I mean, we carry everything. I mean, I'm sure.
But we picked it probably for a reason because it's probably sells more than
It's
anything.
It's the most popular.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's.
exactly.
I mean, no doubt about it. I'm sure in his shop, it's the number one selling brand wise and brand wise
Correct.
at our store as well. So, not to knock anything down of Pan or anything,
course, yeah.
you know, but these guys are just the
They've
key.
been around.
They've been around and they're. I mean, everybody just knows them. You know, like assumes already that these are the best of the best already. Yeah. So I mean, like I said, Pan makes good reels as well. You know, Fluger, all the other brands. You know, Akuma and
yeah, even you you fish those Abu Garcia reels pretty
Abu.
hard too.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
solid reels out
Yeah.
there, man. You know,
I personally, I use Quantum a lot. I mean, I use Quantum a lot.
what's that? I was just thinking of that one brand that you used to get the
And I do get it. It's the Fenor.
Fenor.
It's a little heavy, but man, not to put anything down, but I actually bought it at Joe's. I think you had just gotten it a couple years back.
Yeah,
And it's a Fenor reel, and it's a 2500. And Fenor is a popular brand. It's actually an offshore brand. So that spinning reel, I've had it, and I will say I never cleaned it. And that's a reel that I treat.
it's still working.
And I still have it. I use it regularly. So like, there's other brands out there. This is just something that people are used to hearing. Shimano, Nasi.
Yeah.
You know, because it's what's promoted more by a lot of the advertisement from people.
But still, it's funny. I mean, people go after that.
But
now.
there's other brands, and you know what? Yeah, I was gonna bring up the Daiwa Regal, which is also spec'd out close to this, which I guess you can. It's only a $60 reel.
But the Iowa,
Is it
that
Daiwa
was
Regal?
is a major player. I mean, they make some solid reels. They make we carry the Rev Rose at 49 and the Legalis and all the and also some of the guys like Fred was saying that the Sienna has been used by, and it's true, they use a lot of guys, but some are leaning towards the Daiwa side now because they're also the LTs now come with like a 22-pound drag for a $50 reel, and that's pretty unheard
Yeah.
of, you know. So
Yeah, Daiwa's stepping up the game.
it's stepping up.
I'm starting to see them come out a little bit more, but popular it's Shimano.
But like so we talked about a lot of different brands out there, but I mean, does kind of that price structure still kind of remain consistent across the brands? Like, you take a $40 reel and you might have a Daiwa or a Shimano or a Pen, and and then like you see the next big gap at $100, right? And so like not that they're all the same, but they're all they can all compete with each other. Like at $100, you say like, yeah, there's a big difference between Shimano's $100 reel and Penn's $100 reel or something like that.
My opinion is I think Daiwa has a good product, and I think Shimano's price is because of the name, because there's Daiwa reels that are about $50 to $60 that will compete with this, if not they're better.
Oh, really?
Than the 100.
Yeah.
But it's the name is not. It's like you
Yeah,
go
the
get
value-
A,
yeah,
you
the-
go get a
yeah.
boot. It's a Nike, a shoe.
And-
It's not there.
But the physical product itself
If you do the homework on this, they match up.
Yeah.
You know,
On the bearings and on the drag.
components and everything. So.
He's got a really good point on that because but Daiwa in the past years
Had a bad reputation.
had a bad reputation, and they've always, when you thought of Daiwa, you thought of the lower end stuff,
Yeah.
which they've always made, the Tatula, all the high end stuff, but nobody ever had them in any shop, and then nobody had them, and now you're starting to see them at the local shops. We're starting to carry them. Fred started carrying them, but that's why a lot of people, when they think of that, oh man, it's the $30 reel. But to his point, they actually can compete with the big boy.
Yeah,
and this being the big boy.
I've got several comments here. We've got Jacob and Carlos and saying, man, those Daiwas they just like them, right? And so they're talking about specific models, but it doesn't really
What did
matter what the
Jacob
model
say?
is. No,
Jacob, what did you say, Jacob?
Jacob saying he loves his ballistic, but
Ballistics, and that's I guess in the Nazi side.
Yeah, one more like
more like
the Stratic end of it, but
the point is like they're saying these Daiwa reels are they like them, right? And that's like so that's the thing. So we're heavy on the Shimano's right now. But we're saying that Daiwa makes pretty comparable.
And, and it's no offense. We're not stating that. We're not stating that this is the real. We just didn't want to bring the whole showcase from the shops over here.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got a small table.
We would have had, probably about 100 reels out here and said, you know what, we got Daiwa, we got.
We'd be here till midnight.
We got Quan.
That's okay, man. I got enough beer for that, so we're good.
I guess basically our discussion here is the functionality of a reel and what you look for, which would be your bearing, your drag. If it's a sealed, and I'm gonna let everybody know. I always tell the customers, don't ask if it's 100% sealed because there's nothing 100% sealed in salt water.
You get that question a
All
lot,
right?
or
Yeah.
if I dunk this,
yeah. I mean, and if you don't take care of it when you get home, then you're gonna hear your bearings going out eventually. I mean, they're not 100%.
But maintenance is important, right? I mean,
it's very important.
You can take a $200 reel and bad maintenance, and it does.
You take a $200 reel and dunk it and don't do anything to it. Yeah, it's going to sound differently the next day. Yeah. And people have to understand what he was just saying about maintenance and not 100% seal. That's absolutely right. But people have to realize that the Gulf, our Laguna Madre, is the second or third highest salinity level in the world. So you have to understand. These when these things are tested, they're tested somewhere else where the salt water might not be as bad, Oh yeah, it's gonna work, man.
In New York City,
New York City,
yeah. So that makes a lot of people have to realize that this Gulf is one of the saltiest. Well, like I said, it's the third or second highest in the whole world.
Yeah.
So and nothing's ever really tested here. Everything's tested like in Japan, New York, wherever it may be. So, they need to start testing South Texas.
So you guys need to, guys watching, you guys need to come on, Shimano, Nazis, that will come on, hit up these guys down here. Let us get some product. Let us dip them. We know plenty of people that love dipping their reels for you. I do want to move on to the next reel, but before I do that, I just want to kind of give a big shout out to the people who are watching us. We got Veronica Barreras saying what's up to you guys. Carlos Lozano, Jacob Garza. We talked about bragging about his his Daiwas, how much he loves them. Sam from Come On Reds. We've got Eric Doobie watching us here, and Sebastian Sanchez agreeing with the Nasties and the Stratic. So with that being said, let's go ahead and
thank you, Joe Hullix, for listening.
Yeah, all the Joe people.
I bought my fan base.
Yeah, we actually got some people in the fans today. So if you guys have any questions or any comments,
hey, do y'all have any questions or comments for us? Are you sure?
Yeah, they're like, "What's in the cup?"
It's more comments, I think, than questions.
Like these guys,
they're having a good time drinking some beers over there too. So,
all right, what's the next reel we got, guys?
We also brought the new. This is one of the probably the latest Shimano. It's the Stratic FL. It's available here all locally. But you got to shop local. We want to stress that, right, Fred?
Yes, sir.
This is one of the latest Shimano's. It was I think released something last June, July, somewhere in that neighborhood. To this point, I believe it's their best saltwater reel.
Really?
Yeah. It's
what does that cost?
Right around the 3,000 actually costs a little bit more in this case. They usually don't do that, like in the Nasky, the Sahara, and all those other ones. They're all the same price, but this one's $199, and the 3,000, which is the one I got, is $209.
And the difference between the 2,500 and the 3,000 are just the
actually
full size?
Not in this reel. Actually, this one has a different bearing system in the inside.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
This one's more categorized for salt.
I say I've never. I've seen it. I've seen it.
Were you asking the difference from the 25 and the 3?
Yeah.
Oh, he's asking what the difference from the 25 and the 3.
Oh, but other than it does have a different bearing system than the 25 and the 3 though. But also the spool and the handle is a little different as well. But
the handle's a little bigger.
Yeah, it's got that T handle versus that straight handle.
Yeah, actually, this is a really nice looking reel. I mean, so I've kind of always discounted it, right? I just kind of like said because it's right there with the Stratic, the CI4.
I think it's kind of putting the CI4 Plus to the side.
Can you get the Stratic?
In my opinion.
Yeah.
I haven't sold one in a while. Put it that way.
Yeah, and so
You
you
know.
got both of these right here, and so like this is kind of, and it's just like there's something about that CI4 that people kind of put their
The
heads around,
lightness.
like people like that, like whatever. But I'm looking at this, and yeah, this is a 3,000, and this is 2,500, and they feel roughly the same. And I have to say that I really like the way this one looks. Like it just looks like it looks a little bit cooler. So
And it's a little heavier.
so yeah, I feel it's a little bit
The-
heavier,
the-
but
I think the CI4 is like 6.8, but that's the 7.1. I mean, there's nothing like.
7-1.
so what's the
Can't see.
difference between these two right here? Like so you say a lot of people are going to this because they're new, or because there's something like because there's that price difference between them?
The price difference is one thing, new being another thing, but also it was voted an ICAST saltwater reel of the year, and ICAST when people get an award for ICAST, like the Academy Awards
It's a little
of
heavier,
fishing.
but you won't feel it.
But it got the ICAST saltwater
think
reel
we're
of the year,
good.
so that's what happened. That's why people are buying that one a little bit more.
I'm checking it out more because I want it with Frank Cavazos. So I want to know what it's going to feel like when I get it. But it is a little heavier.
It's gonna be.
It's a little heavier, like
It's
Fred
got a
said.
top,
It's
a spool's a little bit bigger.
So-
the
so
seven.
I like that Fabian brought that up because I want to get your guys' thoughts on what's the value of weight on a reel and a rod, and kind of how does that, I mean,
Well,
is it
sometimes
worth that much? Like
you can take a 7.1, but if you got the right rod and it's balanced right, it will not feel as heavy as.
a
Yeah,
balanced
you could
rod.
you could
Yeah.
take the Stratic that's like a 6.8 ounce and put on a light rod on a
Heavier.
heavier rod, and it's gonna feel heavier.
So for someone that's watching right now that doesn't know what balance means, what do you mean a balanced rod?
Well-
you get the reel and the rod together,
Okay.
and you kind of just you can weight out with a finger, and also you can also find the balance on it and the weight balance. Like Fred said, you can get the lightest reel and put it against an
On a heavy
ugly
rod.
stick or something like that, and put a CI4 on an ugly stick and see what happens. It's going to tilt to the side.
One thing I do want to state is, I think if I'm not correct, the inside from this they mimic some of the
Stella.
Stella.
Really? Oh,
So that's what's the difference from the Stratic.
okay.
Some of the components on this are off of the Stella.
It's actually
So it's more like a Stella than a Stratic.
No, they use some of the components on the inside to
they do.
mimic it.
That's actually correct. They use some of the older Stella technology on that reel, so that's what it's voted the best saltwater reel.
It's smooth.
I'm
You
gonna
won't get tired with
I'm gonna
this.
talk about this here really quick. So a lot of people talk about balance and what does balance mean. And so when you're trying to balance a rod and a reel together,
I think you should answer that question.
okay, yeah, I was trying to say, I was letting you guys answer it. So it's a really important factor, right? So typically when you're casting your reel, what you want right here is, that reel is pivoting across your finger. That's right here in front here, and he likes that water that he's drinking there very much. but you want that reel and rod, and so see, this is kind of, the rod is kind of too heavy for this reel to offset it, but you want it to kind of sit at a normal position there. You just kind of start walking your fingers along this until you find that balance point here, so that it kind of sits. This is just right above the foregrip. The foregrip has a big drip here, so I can't really balance it out. And that's important because when you're casting, your wrist, you're using your wrist to cast, whereas if you have a good balanced rod, you're using the mechanics of the weight in the rod. It's acting like a lever. It wants to go back to that normal position there, and it's gonna put less fatigue on your wrist. And so that's why balance is more important than weight or whatever, right?
So that's what
Yeah,
you're saying.
and
Like, I'm not going to
that's-
feed it with this.
Well, if you put the right rod, you won't.
Of course.
And I'm sure you got the right person to help you with that.
Yeah,
I know
I
a
mean-
guy.
The thing, I think you know a guy. Okay.
Well,
If not, we can hook you up with somebody.
Yeah, well, we all know guys.
No, and you're right on that. That helps a lot of people. That balance issue is mainly for the people that are waiting
Wait
or
fishing.
that do a lot of drift,
lot of
a lot
casting.
of drift fishing, and they're casting basically lures. That's where you want to have that
Yeah, you're
balance, proper balance, so you don't affect. People get tired after
Yeah,
I
casting.
mean, yeah, you talk
Well,
about
when you
400
don't catch
or 500
fish, but I mean, when you're catching fish,
trying. Well, I just chunk bait anyway, so I just throw the rod out one time. I'm just gonna sit there.
I
and
always catch fish.
wait. always, yeah. So
That was good.
So Sam from Come On Red says he's already pretty wasted. He said he's taking a drink whenever we say the word real. So real. So real. All right. So really, we talked about kind of the three price ranges here. So you talked about kind of a $40 reel, a $100 reel, and then something at that $200 reel. And obviously, there's reels that go on beyond that. I mean, what does a Stella sell for these days?
They're $750 and up.
$750.
I mean, it depends what you want. I mean, of course, that's like the Rolex of everything. So,
and from your experience or your opinions,
I don't have one,
man. Yeah. Is paying seven? I mean, is there a big difference between other than price, from the technical performance?
Kind of a bad question to ask people that sell them.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought about the question.
I have to agree with Fred on that one, and I just say I want to plead the fifth on that. Okay, I just want to.
Yes. So I mean, we talk about, and so obviously
they're better. That's all you need to know.
No, they're better, right? Obviously, they're priced differently. So I do think that it takes more time to develop, and the materials are better for. Obviously, that's the big thing as you start. They spend more time designing them. But there's someone going to value that additional time, and obviously someone does because they buy them.
And I'll tell you this: I just won a Vanquish as well, and
I saw that.
My God,
one of the spending a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
I know. Right?
You're not allowed in any raffles of mine, sir.
But wait a minute, they're not my raffles.
You don't want the Vanquish. It's got a small spool. I'll take it off your
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is
I banned Victor Lozano for the same reasons.
That thing is like
Victor, if you're listening, you were banned from Hook, Line, Sinker raffles.
We wouldn't even let him in ours anymore.
Yeah, the guy had some super luck on that one.
It's been a while, but what I'm saying is that when I felt that, I thought, man, $500 reel, whatever, it's gonna feel the same as my Rocket.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
What does the Vanquish run?
There's
five something, right?
Something.
There's a difference in the high-end reels. Of course, once you step above the CI4 Plus, and even the Daiwas,
the ballistic is
not even the ballistic. They got some other reels. Even Abu's got a $250 reel.
Daiwa's got five.
They got the
6.
Rebels, I believe.
Before we start covering all these, go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Well, what I was gonna say was once you get into the higher, which we call the higher end reels, it's like anything else. You're gonna have your casing's gonna be made out of a different material. It's gonna be better.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna be aluminum instead of precast. What is it, cadmium that they use to cast some of these things out of? So, The carry, yeah, you get a pouch. You get a nice pouch to carry your reel in. That's a plus.
That's a good point for $700.
You're right.
For $700,
$700, I want somebody to help me.
Yeah,
take care of it.
The mechanism, of course, is a lot better on the inside. The bearings are going to be probably a different class of the stainless steel ball bearing. It's going to be.
So it sounds it's really like kind of that same question between a $40 reel and a $100 reel, right? There's differences in it, and as you start kind of going up.
But now you're comparing. It's like,
now you're comparing a $100 reel.
I want a Prius, or do you want a Mercedes Benz?
Yeah, I know, absolutely, I understand. There's a lot.
Big variance from that.
There's a lot goes into it.
I was going to use a Swatch watch and Rolex, but he got the Prius and the Mercedes out of the way, man. So
yeah.
It's the quality, the craftsmanship. It's just totally different.
Yeah. And I think it does go back to that as well, because again, I have the three versions of the Abu Garcia, the Revos, and I have the S, the X, and the Rocket. And my X, I mean, I have the same amount of care for all of them, and my X already sounds like crap, and the Revo, it's as smooth as heck, So I think also, that's why I asked initially the question of, is buying a higher end reel going to help that person who doesn't take care of it as much? I think it's going to also benefit them as well, in the sense that you're going to have a long lasting reel where you don't have the, maintenance that some people do have.
I will tell you, I think you need a maintenance.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
No, absolutely, of course.
I understand what you're trying to say. You mean if you get home, but
a little tired.
But if you're a guy that wades a lot and it's going to be in the water constantly, and your reel's going to be getting wet, even though you don't dunk it, it's got to get maintenance. Yeah. Because like he said earlier, our salt water, plastic rust out there, man. So it's not like we're going to be away, and that's just what it is. Our salt water eats up everything. It eats up plastic. It eats up everything.
I was going to say we're off the air, but we're on. All right,
Yeah,
I'm back on Joe Alex. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs.
We're
Yeah,
back on.
yeah. You guys need to give us some likes or something, man. Come on, these guys they're out here. They're busting their butts
So-
here. Come on, give us some likes here.
Yeah, guys.
Come on, yeah. Nah, but so let's talk about maintenance really quick. So I mean, we keep saying maintenance is important. Maintenance is important. So what do you mean? What is maintenance?
Overall maintenance on the reel. Don't do the. I'm gonna get a 5-gallon bucket and put it in water and let it sit in there.
Okay.
That's not maintenance.
Okay, that's not.
You know.
So,
Wait.
so I don't do any maintenance.
Okay, so when you get, you're washing your boat or you get home, rinse them off with a water hose real quick. That will just clean off the basic debris on them. You can put them in the garage from there, and they should be fine. One thing that I was told by an old school fisherman that I learned many years back, they sell Reel Magic and all that stuff that you can use to spray them down and keep your reel. It also keeps your braid line moist, so it doesn't dry up on you. But man, we used to get. I still do it. I get the dollar store the Pam, the 99-cent nonstick spray, and I spray my rod and my reel down with it, and I leave it sitting in the garage.
And that just, I mean, Pam. So Pam is an oil, right? So it's going to prevent the
I use olive oil now that I'm on diet. Before it was vegetable.
I use the Hill Country because I can't afford the PAM.
What's the dollar? He's buying at the dollar store.
He got the PAM.
And you can probably get it.
But
one thing.
So starting next week, we're all gonna be selling Pams at our
Yeah.
store.
That's simple maintenance. Then there's a required maintenance.
I guess PAM will be available at TTV
Yeah,
very soon.
yeah. Well, yeah. I'm gonna go buy some.
You're
next
gonna have
door.
it. Fred's gonna have that shit on the shelf for
I don't know what you guys are doing with your rod.
for six. What does PAM cost? Like $3.99. He's gonna have it for $6.99.
Go to the dollar store, it's $1.99.
Yeah, $5.99 at
I
TTV.
just try to help people out.
Yeah.
You can come buy the Reel Magic if you want. That's up to you.
No, I've never heard of that though. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
no,
but it makes sense. It's an oil.
It's an oil.
It's an oil. So
Yeah, he was an old school guy, a rod builder. Actually.
So that's kind of like the first year. So wash them home and take them home, wash them, and then spray some Pam or some real oil. And so is that what you mean by maintenance?
Yeah.
Or
yeah,
That-
one thing. Excuse me, but one thing that a lot of people still do, and they continue to do is WD-40 or DW-40, whatever. I get that. Oh yeah, I just spray down or put some. It's a degreaser. It's
a
degreaser.
water base too.
Yeah,
Rust in it.
and I hear that. I'm like, and the first thing I just shake my head. I'm like, no, don't
So-
ever.
So no
Don't ever do that
WD-40.
again. No WD-40 or because it's a degreaser and water and it's going to do more damage than good. It'll feel good for a little bit, and then you'll start hearing the grind and all that, and then it starts getting a little rough because it's eating all it took all your oil up. So yeah, that's one of the things. Still, believe it or not, after so many years that being in the business, I still hear that WD-40, and I'm just looking like, wow.
Yeah. So no WD-40.
No.
But the Real Magic, is that
It's a spray that you can buy, at the shops, and it's really good. Also, and you can also put it on your line, your mono.
and so this is just purely just take your reel like this and just spray this stuff on it, or are you taking any of this stuff apart and doing anything other than that?
Well, what's that other one? There's
Real
a-
X?
Yeah, Real Legs.
Yeah.
The Real Legs. They sell a small oil. Basically, I guess because you're on camera. If you want a quick, like you said, I mean, it's good to carry that little oil. You can even buy the pin at. If we don't carry it, you can go to Walmart and they have real oil. You can buy real oil anywhere. I mean, we prefer you buy it from local shops, But if you must go to Walmart and you're buying groceries, or something, you can buy any oil.
Or Pam?
Or Pam.
Just or Pam. But, all you got to do is take the spool off, drop a cup. The spool has a little, the shaft here. You can put some oil on the shaft right here and on the bottom. And as you turn it, it'll go into your bearing.
Okay.
See how it goes up and down? Just pump a little bit of oil in there and then go ahead and pull your tab off here in your handle. Drop a couple of drops, close it back up. You should be good to go. You do have a main bearing in all these right here in the middle, and that's what eventually does go out on everything.
That's the first thing that's gonna go.
the purpose of you doing that little oil drop here to make it go in from that shaft.
Okay.
To keep it lubed and help that salt that's getting in there. That would be a general maintenance. Don't spray anything in here because then you start messing with your drag and your clutches in there. So.
All right. So just on that shaft.
Yeah, this will be fine. This has a grease in it, so you want to leave it greased.
Yeah.
So just the general maintenance, put a little bit of oil on the shaft, pump it up and down a couple of times, and then inside the handle right here on these two. There's no reason to take it completely apart. For that, bring it into one of our shops. We'll do for a general maintenance, we'll break it down completely. I mean, it's completely torn apart.
Yeah.
And then it gets completely washed, put back together. Bearings are clean. They get an assessment done, and we'll let you know if your bearings are already almost ready for replacement.
And it's not that easy. I mean, I tried doing it myself a few times. I ended up taking it.
No. Yeah,
because it's like it grinds, or it kind of never does the same
I
thing.
never put it back the same way.
Even the drag systems on these are not. They're built different now. Before the old school, they had just a little wheel in the inside with a little
Spring on it.
Yeah, a little spring on them. Well, now you got a bearing actually system, and it takes a little cylinder into that creates the, and it even stops you from that in that anti-reverse.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful when you take these things apart.
Yeah. So don't take them.
Don't take them apart.
Just
Just do your general maintenance on them like that, and then if you have to, bring them in.
Yeah.
It's not bad to bring them in once or twice during the summer. If you fish a lot, bring them in twice a month. I mean, twice a month. Twice, a year, just to get.
I was like, I like that idea.
Yeah, twice a month. There's a tip for you guys.
Just to get a good maintenance on them. I mean, and it doesn't hurt you, especially if you're buying even
an expensive rig.
Now, okay, let me ask you this. Let's say a nasty, would I take that in for maintenance, and would it be worth replacing bearings and things of that sort?
Yeah, of course, because the nasty can last you a couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah, I always say, maybe I'm sure Fred's seen this already too, that, you get a Sienna and I want it clean, and I want to, it's going to need a bearing shirt. It's going to be like $26. When the Sienna's like 30 something bucks.
Well, that's why I'm asking that. Because
No, but yeah, and that's a good point. And that's why I brought that up for like the Nasky, or, of course, yeah, bearing or two. Yeah, it's worth it. Like Fred said, it'll last. If you maintenance it or replace that bearing, it's gonna last you another year or so. And not spend $100, which we don't encourage. We encourage you to buy another one too and have as a backup, right?
That's right.
Yep. So we've got three. We got three reels here roughly.
We got fans in here too.
We got fans. Yeah, we got a lot. It's an exciting day. There's a lot going on right now. But yeah, so we've got three reels, three Shimano reels, 40, 100, and roughly 200.
Yeah.
Sienna, the Nasty, and the Stratic FL, right? That's what we call it.
FL.
And then we said Daiwa makes pretty good reels too. So what would be the equivalent Daiwa reels, kind of at those same price ranges? The $40, $50, $100, and then your $200 Daiwa.
I guess the ballistic's not that high.
What is it? The ballistic cost?
No, the ballistic is the $200 one.
About 200, yeah. So you could do the ballistic here, and then the Daiwa Fuego would be about the Nasi.
Yeah, or the BG or B&G.
And then this one, I guess the Regal, but the Regal's about 55, but it's a little bit, it is a lot better than the Sienna.
Okay.
I will say that.
The Regal? Yeah, it's a good reel.
It's they make another one. I would.
I like it. The Revros. It's the $49 one.
Yeah, the Revros would be like the Sienna.
Okay. Yeah. There's a Legalis. They got like. I'm starting to like. Wow. I mean,
how do you keep up with all this, man? Like,
when you go through there, it's like.
Yeah,
I don't know what to order.
Well, that's how they get you, right? So you got to order all
they
of
have
them.
20
right?
reels, and you're like, well, I can only have 4 or 5 at the
and
shop.
you have the customer that comes in that wants, the one that you don't have, right?
Always.
I want that one.
¿No tienes ese en 5,000?
Yeah, I mean.
No, that's it, sir.
That's a good question.
Use a Daiwa at one time.
The ballistics.
Yeah, so the ballistics are. I mean, no, that's a good reel. It's still out there.
It's. I haven't seen it in a while, but yeah.
And so the other question, and you kind of talked about it. You were joking about it, kind of, but you said a 5,000. So a 2,500 and a 3,000 is all you need for a regular type getting out here and fishing in the bay.
For bay fishing, it lets I mean, some people like the 4s for because usually they the bait or off the jetties, anything like that, But some of them, like the Nasky, does go up to 5 now. A few reels go up to 5.
Okay. But for the most part, people are buying 2,500s and 3,000.
Yeah, because right now everybody's starting to do. Everybody wants to do the lure thing right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of hot. It's what
Alright.
it is.
All right, let's.
And then when they can't capture them, they go to bait.
Well, I do about.
You know who I'm talking about.
Joe, that's you. We're talking about you. Yeah.
Who's he pointing to?
So,
The people watching.
no, I'm not.
Oh.
No, yeah, I mean it's right now lure is what's there right now. Everybody wants to do artificial,
Well, I guess on that point,
so that's what's pushing the 25. Even there's people that are using the 1,000.
They're getting popular.
And now they're doing a lighter reel, lighter braided line for the fight. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, it's that drag.
Yeah, they get that 14-inch strap. And it's like a red on them.
But it was fun, right? It was
Like
like,
last week, I was using a 612 rod with a 1,000 Stratic.
all right.
Really? Yeah.
And so the other thing that we talk a lot about spinning reels, right? And so because here in South Texas, it's the majority of what we're selling, right? But there's I would say probably about 30% of the population down here, and as you move further along the coast, that increases more.
It increases more along the coast, but I've seen it increase here. It's still, of course, spinning by, I'd say 70-30.
Yep.
Maybe 80-20, somewhere in that neighborhood. And, a few years back, I never carried any. It was always like, I could get it for you. Let me order that for you. Because it was just once in a blue moon, the guy would walk in. You have a Corrado, you have a this or that. But now it's becoming more popular to where you're starting. You have to have a few of them in the shop.
So what are those bait casters that people are looking for, and so kind of the same price range, or are bait casters kind of at the same price range at 40, 100, or
they're a little higher.
so someone looking for a good quote unquote entry level bait caster, what are they looking to spend?
Probably about $100.
$100.
Yeah.
And what would that be?
Like a Revo X, I think the SLX from Shimano.
Yeah, the SLX is about
$100, 120. But the new one is about 120. So there's that's kind of an entry level now for bait casting, and they go. I mean, you can $600. $500. I mean, there's Stella type of bait casters as well now, but yeah, it's becoming a little bit more popular. You see the growth. You'll see the growth going. It's like I said. 6 years ago, there was no bait caster at the shop. I literally would have to order one.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's changed so much that it's starting to shift a little bit. But
starting to balance a little bit.
Yeah, it's starting to balance it. But you go up to Port Mansfield on up, and it's probably more bait casting than spinning.
Yep.
And in those areas. But the valley, we're still stuck on spinning.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's cool.
I mean, we're out fishing, right? So,
yeah.
So
I am.
Yeah. So it's that $100, that Shimano XL, or what would we call it? The Shimano. That
the SLX is
SLX.
It's about 130, maybe 140, and then if you want to get into the 13 fishing, we call them the Easter eggs.
The different colors,
and a lot of the
colors.
A lot of the younger guys like those because they got teal. What are
the Easter eggs?
White.
Yeah, that's a good one.
White, orange, green, that fluorescent green.
13 Fishing is a good brand. I mean, back they were known to have a bad bearing system, but they upgraded that, so they're making actually saltwater reels now, in casting. And then, like Joe said, Abu's a good. Right now, the Abu actually has that new one that came out, the purple one.
Yeah.
That's a pretty popular reel right now that people are after that do bait casting. But bait casting is a whole different. I guess it's a different race car than it is from spinning.
Why is that?
Because you got different gear ratios that are higher than you have in a spinning. I mean, you can get from a 6 to up to a 10.
And 10.
I mean, and that bait casting is a different. As far as fishing, yeah, it's a fishing. But I got personal friends that use it as they use bait casters because they like to sight cast a lot. And that gear ratio, when you're in a 10 to 1, I mean, those things, you're bringing that reel in quick. So when you're out there fishing and you're waiting and you see that red, the first thing you want to do is either you overcast it, bring it in. You don't bite, you're going to bring it in as quick as you can. From a 5 to a 10, I mean,
there's a big difference.
Doing,
twice as much.
You're
That's
bringing twice
difference.
as much line.
Yep.
So bait casters are used for different aspects, even for type of lures you use and stuff. I think bait casters, top waters work better on that, and even corkies and stuff like that. they work different from a spinning and a bait caster rod.
So what's the big? So I mean, it seems like there's like a lot of advantages, or I don't know. I don't want to call them
There's
advantages.
advantages and disadvantages to it.
So the disadvantage that I'm aware of, and most people are, backlash.
That never happens to me, but
because you always catch fish, though.
Yeah. So
I have a DC.
no, that's what I was gonna say. I use a PC, and I always have it on 4.
Four's the beginner level.
So
I have it too.
I don't got no backlash.
So let's talk about it. So the DC is the Corrado DC.
There's a Corrado SLX, and
Should've bought one of those.
yeah,
DC.
now the DC's what the DC stands for is a digital chip. So what it's meant for it's for like somebody like me that doesn't really know the game well in the bait casting. It's dial 4. Dial 4 is the beginning stages, and when you cast it, it doesn't let you go as far. It starts breaking it on its own as the drop starts happening. It's sending a signal to the chip to slow it down. You still have to thumb it, but it does a lot of the braking for you. So
so
really?
I mean,
yeah,
what does that cost?
well, actually, the SLX is about right around the $200 range.
The
It's not expensive, I mean, if you're gonna, I always tell people because I'm sure he's seen it a lot that don't get DCs and they try bait casting, and then they buy a rod and reel and they get something expensive, and then like 3 days you see it,
On Facebook.
Saltaholics or
They're
fishaholics or
selling it
whatever.
with a raffle.
Yeah, they're wrapped because they
seen
just
it.
did right. You
Yeah.
see, I mean, you see, and very quickly because they just they threw it 3 times and they got 3 bird nests and but with the DC line that Shimano's got, it helps the beginner, the guy that's converting, not really a beginning fisherman, but I mean by beginning in
the bait casting world.
in the bait casting world because it was new to me, man. I didn't know. I mean, that was just like, what kind of machine is that?
But
Just got a computer.
That can be a competitive reel to a
start
competitive fisherman.
Yeah.
Or it's, again,
It,
it's
but
just
it
to
has
start with.
like he was saying, it has 4 dials, so it's got if you're converting to like strictly a beginner and the bait casting, you put it on that dial 4, and then if you're already know bait casting, you leave it at 1 or 2.
And the reel itself, I mean, having that chip doesn't limit it in any way, right? Obviously, it helps you kind of getting through that inertia where you're learning how to cast it, but you can still be. I mean, it's still a high perform or a high end reel.
It still has you can order them in an 8-to-1.
Yeah,
So I mean the gear ratio on those, I mean it's a competitive, like you said. You can use it. It's not like it's a beginner reel.
Okay.
It's not a beginner reel by any chance.
no,
Okay.
It's actually made to being put to work. The only issue is that it's giving you, I mean, even like you said, you backlash. It happens. Adjust the brakes or you don't, whatever.
Because even the hike is expensive and it's used for competitive fishing, and it's very, I don't want to say completely, but it's very anti, backlash, type of reel.
yeah.
I'll take you fishing.
You can use his Corrado.
Fred's got a DC.
Yeah, he's got it.
Dial 4. Dial 4.
I got a friend that says that he'll teach you how to backlash.
On it. I could figure out. That would be me on the 4, getting the bag.
Yeah,
All right.
they're good reels, though. I mean, they're good. I mean, like you said, you don't have to be a beginner. It does help the beginning guy that's converting.
Yeah.
Big time for the it's got 4 different dials. Wind dial, if you're kind of already a pro at it, and the beginning dial, which is 4.
And so on. And
Still stuck on 4, just to let y'all know.
Still.
I'm sorry, man.
For the last 4
Still
years.
stuck on it.
And you're relaxing, leave it on 4. If you cast it, it hits the water. It actually, it stops without thumbing it.
Yeah.
I've had it stop without thumbing it.
Nice.
You just get lazy, relax,
That's
and you're working it like a spinning reel.
Yeah.
But
So we talked a lot about the Shimano reels. You said there's other reels out there. So is Daiwa also competitive in the in that world, in the bait casting world also?
They make some really good ones. Lose also.
I think Luz is more competitive than Daiwa in the bait casting.
Okay.
Yeah,
And so Luz and Shimano are competing in the bait casting world pretty all right.
I think Luz is actually probably more on top right now, and the bait casting world, at least, even down here. But
So what's an entry level Luz reel, bait casting reel? On what
about
does that
$100.
cost? $100.
Yeah, but they start going up to the 2, 3.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get us wrong. The $100 is the intro. They do make like some $60 versions. I mean, but if, like he says, I mean, you want a bait caster, you want a good bait caster.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's a different animal itself when you spinning the bait caster.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, it's a
it's a black white thing, man.
I think it's a different type of. It's fishing, but it's just a different.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a different cast. I mean, everything's different about it.
Good deal.
So
I think our viewers have heard enough of the reels.
Yeah, everyone's, but we keep saying it, reels. So
So
Sam
I
can
guess
keep
Sam's already
drinking.
drunk. Okay.
No, yeah, Sam. So
Good Sam.
he hasn't texted us
Real.
or messaged
Oh,
us.
he's probably passed out. Are you talking
probably
about
passed-
Big Sam?
Yeah, Big
Yeah,
Sam.
Big Sam's probably passed out right now.
Might be, I'm sure. Yeah, maybe he is.
Well,
but-
before we move on, I know everybody
can walk up
respects
some
Smiley's.
questions.
Everybody respects Smiley's opinions.
No, we don't.
I didn't say that, sir.
I
sir.
did. Sir, damn. Hold on, open your mouth, Joe.
But
It's the Michelob. It's the
But
ultra.
Smiley says that he cleans his reels with Gentleman Jack and it works just fine. So
Hey, who showed
for
you?
y'all,
Who showed you that one on the boat?
Is he listening right now?
you
Is he on right now?
dropped it.
That's how you get salt on your jacket.
You know.
That's with a tape.
Okay, what happens is too much Gentleman Jack. You drop it in the water, you gotta rinse it off.
So it's a balance,
It's
right?
a balance on this.
All right, so we talked a lot about reels. Let's and the next thing that we'll kind of talk about here are your lines, right? So obviously your lines is there's a lot of things that you can call your next step, but let's kind of transition over to
Frozen
to
over
fishing.
here, if that makes a difference.
Are we frozen on this side here? We're frozen all the way across.
I was like, man, I've been staring at the camera for a while, and I'm like, wow.
How many have you had?
Let's see here.
I was freaking out, like, wow.
Hey,
Bartender.
hey, Bill.
Billy, can I have another one,
No,
por
next
favor?
time, don't ice me, Bill, please. Thank you. Felt like a girl was drinking it with ice.
Oh, can you put a couple of ice in for me?
Want some?
We got some ice there?
Hey, it's Jack. You want some? Man, you're so pretty. He's pretty, ain't he, Joe?
How many have you drank?
A couple more, he'll be prettier. Thank you, Billy.
It was just too much fun. The camera couldn't keep up with it, man. So the camera.
Yeah, I saw it there, and I was just like, what? I'm looking at the, you know.
Well, Joe kept looking at it for like 5 minutes. So.
I thought he was looking at me. I was like, what the fuck?
Are we playing some kind of...
So it looks like we got this back up. So all right, so
We're back, Joe Alex.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, everyone hears that. All right, so let's go ahead and so let's talk about reel or line that goes on your reel. So, so most people are using braid. Is that fair to say?
95% probably.
95. Okay. And so what are we?
Yeah, Billy still uses mono over here.
Because it's cheaper, right? You can buy spools of it and nobody buys it, right?
Well, there's people that use braid and there's people that use mono. It depends. Mono, I still see a lot of casting guys that use casting reels. Bait casters,
Yeah,
they still stick to mono.
Why?
It's because it's the flexibility that when you set, I mean, you get the stretch. You can put more. I mean, you can actually put a 20-pound. That's
The backlash out. Yeah, it's easier to untie the knot.
Actually, you're right, Bill. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Hey, Big Bill got it right.
So that's a lifeline right there. So.
Well, you
Call
know,
a
coming
friend.
from experience, right, Bill? You know? So, no, but
Well,
seriously, he's right, though. It is a good point.
Because he's trying to get away from the 4. You guys are still. He's trying to play on at a level 2 now, and he's moving up his DC to leveling up, man. You gotta try it.
Hey, Big Bill, you all right?
So yeah. So so you still see a lot of the mono.
I still have some mono people that come in, but he's right. It's about 95%. Everybody's into the braid right now. We carry what the Pro V2 is the hot one right now.
Pro V2. Who makes Pro V2?
It's Pro V2 is Power Pro.
Our Pro.
Should I sit down?
We got Big Tony in the house. Y'all know
Big
who Big
Tony,
Tony is.
we should put him on the camera real quick so people can see what he looks like.
No, he's gonna make us all look tiny, man. So.
Yeah,
Tiny
especially me. Shit.
Yeah.
I think I'm the shortest guy here.
Well, tiny in height, at least.
Yeah.
He was talking about me, man.
No, the Pro V2 is a popular brand. Everybody's into that super slick right now. I think Joe carries a brand called Samurai.
The Daiwa Samurai.
The
It's
Daiwa Samurai is also a good brand. It's got a super slick on it.
And by super slick, it's just like a waxy type.
Yeah, it's
like,
got more wax built into it, which makes it a lot more slicker. You know, it gives you that cleaner cast. Excuse me. We carry also fins. That 40G right now is also
Been hearing
popular.
about that.
the 40G is getting real popular because it's real thin. So I mean, the you can go from a 25 pound. What is it? A 25. 25, 45 is like at a 6 pound mono.
What's your common weight on a braid?
I would say 15 to 20.
15, 20 on both spinning and bait casters, or just
but that's the thing with the 40G. You get into the 40G and you can jump into that 25 to 45 pound, and you're still in the same thickness as a 15 to 20.
Yeah.
So that's what's getting popular right now.
What's the price point on those?
I guess it's about what, $20 to $25.
$21.97.
With tax?
They're about $20 to $25 for the 150.
I was going to say, is that with or without tax? Got that one down real good, man. 8.25.
Carry the one.
And then, I mean, of course, if you do it by the foot, it's cheaper because
You paying cash or card?
really, Tony? Really? $10 pools all day. $10 pools all day.
I got a bunch of reels.
Is
I'm gonna
that why
take
we're sporting $10 pools all day? Lunch money.
and effectivo.
Hell, for $10, I'll take mine over there too. Shit, man. Man, good deal.
We had to buy lunch from the butcher shop.
Oh man.
Yeah, but no, and you know, no kidding around. There's other brands like Daiwa. You still carry the Daiwa braid?
We got to get the J braid.
The J braid.
Slow down a little bit because a lot of the kind of like what he was saying about the 40G, the Daiwa Samurai. You can get
compatible.
Very compatible. You can get the 30 pound, and it's still about as thin as the Power Pro 10, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more, but I mean very close. It's in between 10 and 15. But now you got 30 pound power, and your casting ability.
And you can put a crap load of it on
Exactly.
these 2,500
You
reels,
actually-
right?
So it's really made more for the casting guys that need to cut that backlash off.
But it's all right. Now that I know I can get a $10.
Yeah, $10 spool there.
For lunch money. I'm just kidding. We don't have $10.
Everybody, if you want a $10.
Monday through Friday at TTV, $10 spools. You all heard it.
It'll be packed Monday morning, bro.
40G as well too. No, we're joking. But the Daiwa Samurai though, you actually have to put it's that thin to where you have to put at least let's say in a 3,000 reel, you would have to put about 30 yards monofilament just to make it full because it's that thin. It only comes in 150. So you put about a 30-yard monofilament, you tie your uni knot, boom, and then you roll the rest of it on, and that's how thin it is. I'm talking about 30-pound braid that you have to put 30 yards of monofilament
On the back.
Yeah.
And that's where I think Samurai and 40G are competing.
They're both great lines. I mean, we both carried like the 40G fins, Power Pro V2. They're Suffix. They're good braid. They're 8-strand braid. So they're gonna be light. They're gonna give you good casting ability on it. Just like the 40G and the Samurai, they're just a little thinner than your typical.
I think right now 40G and Samurai is top of the line. I mean, I think
it is.
That's what's up there, and that's what should be on a reel.
That's what you should get right now.
If you're doing, if of course, cost wise, you can stick with a regular Power Pro. Does not hurt you anything. The only thing you're losing is the wax, and you're losing a little bit of casting distance.
Yeah,
the
regular.
Knots aren't an issue with some of the other tiers.
It's a little thicker. It's a 4 brand.
It's thicker, so backlash would be easier to get cleaned up. The thinner line, of course, if you get a backlash, you got to pick it a little more.
What's backlash? Just asking. I mean,
well, we're at level 4. We're at
That's
level.
a low blow, man.
That's just the reason you're still using the spinning.
No.
I got a DC. I don't need it.
Level 4.
No,
Level
but,
4.
yeah, I
No
mean,
backlash.
J-Braid and even Suffix were, Suffix came out with Performance.
They make good lines.
What's that other line, Tony? Suffix Performance, and what's the other one?
The 832.
The 832 is also coming up. People are starting to request that a lot. It's getting popular. That 832, it's got a nice blue camo.
Still the spider.
Yeah, they got some nice colors.
Yeah, Suffix. I've been getting requests for it. It's so.
Is the spider wires out of the game
No,
now, or what?
spider wire is still there. I got a spool that's been there for about 6
Joe's
months.
looking at me weird. Like,
That's the $10 one. That's the
I had
$10.
the spider wire. Hey, what pound was it?
Oh well, $10 spool.
Somebody's talking on it. What?
I think some people still use what was that? That was real rough. The Fireline. What was it?
Fireline?
Fireline.
The Fireline. Berkeley's
No,
still available.
Yes.
Berkeley.
Yeah, they still sell it. And
Actually, they got a new performance one there. But
I had people once in a blue moon you get how's a Berkeley Fireline. I'm like, do you love your guides? You do not love your guides,
now,
sir?
what's really good about maintenance, as we talked about in the past, is that Real Magic or the PAM or the 99-cent oil. It keeps your line lubed.
And Cabela's has it for $9.99. I don't know why Tony said
Cabela's.
Hey, it's Shop Local, Tony, not at Cabela's, bro.
Talking about $10.
Oh, you're supposed to cup it off, baby.
I'm like, God, does he work at GTV?
Yeah, we're supposed to be shopping local here.
Shopping local.
No, but you know what? I mean, the Real Magic does work.
Yeah, and it keep a lot of guys, and I've seen this before. A lot of guys come in and they're like, "My line's dry. I need to change it out."
Yeah.
I'll tell them, you know what? Let me pump it with some oil and take it with you. But sometimes we're here to help you as well. We're not here to buy everything we got. Let's go. The purpose of the shops are also to help the guys
Educate you. Yeah.
Educate you. Hey, you know what?
Educate is the main key.
Your line is still good. Just because it looks dry and lost that nice blue color you put it on in the beginning, it's like a faded blue.
Oh, you tell them that? I tell them they need it.
Yeah, you used to tell me too.
I opened up a shop, Joe.
I didn't think that was going to bite me in the ass, right?
Yeah. No, when you started selling my lures to Smiley. No, the Real Magic, it'll keep it lubed. So if you notice, if you buy the bottle, I mean, you can spray it every time you come in, or you don't have to be consistent. There are some people, like, I know Bill is, what do you call it? OCD. He probably spray it every time he comes in. But, man, your line can last you forever.
And so why is it important to have lube line?
Because you're going to get a better casting distance.
Okay.
Smoother.
So those people that fish on the boat, casting 10 feet from the boat does not work. Casting distance works.
Casting distance.
But you can also tell, like, I know, and again, it could be me that I suck at throwing a reel, but once it starts getting drier, once it starts getting where I need to change it, you right away start getting little knots. Like any little throw, I just start dryness.
You'll start seeing
What
it.
are those? Oh.
So Joe doesn't know what a knot is or a backlash.
Shoot, you want to say backlash?
Yeah, we probably said too much, right?
Okay. We'll say wind knots.
Wind knots.
There you go. Wind knots.
To our
Exactly
dear
what I
friends.
mean, yeah.
We didn't mean it.
Right. So Finn's 40G, Power Pro V2, and the Samurai are kind of the ones that people are going out there. And thoughts about how do you put that on your reel?
Bring it to the shop. We spool them.
Bring it to the shop. So someone who buys a spool and wants to do it by themselves, what are things that they need to know? And I know we've talked about this a little bit here. That's kind of where
it's yours. Let me see that one.
Yep. All right. Oh no! Use that one. Use the one in the box.
Well, no, because I want to show the difference. I mean,
he just broke
he
the
just
seal.
bought
Just
it.
bought it.
He just bought it. It's all right.
At a full price.
Tony, they want to charge us. Does this one have the spin?
No, which one? Oh, you're talking about
they're all going to be smooth. Well,
they're talking about
what I was trying to show is
like what
these are smooth. So you either put you can put tape, or you can put maybe a couple of feet of like a 10-pound mono as a backing. As a backing on it, and that way it grabs.
And if you don't do that, you're
the problem.
You'll be able to literally turn it.
Yeah, that's
unless you use a booger seal.
Well, I don't like using tape because sometimes if you wait and you get it wet, eventually the tape will start to come off and it will start to slip. The mono, I like to do the mono on my personal reels. I'll do the mono backing with tape.
okay.
And then I
double.
Yeah, and then just to be safe, you know, because I catch big fish.
All the time, every time you go.
Should we throw in the Gorditos tournament coming soon, right?
So when
Hey, you're sponsoring it.
what I got it is Fred always catches fish, and Joe doesn't have any problems casting it with his gear. So
Hey, so Joe might, you know, just so you know, I don't fish to go to the tournament, so everybody has a chance to win it.
Including me.
Joe's fishing. You know,
I've seen
so
Joe
you
fish. You have a chance to.
but yeah, I mean, you know, spooning your reel, I mean, you can do it at home if you want. You know, keep your spool taut a little bit, which means tight. Not too tight, just keep it nice and firm. And after you spool your reel, when you go out to do your fishing, give it a cast and then reel it in, let it reset on itself with your weighted line.
So I've talked about memory. I've heard about memory. I mean,
Yeah.
like
So-
what does that mean?
Memory can be when it picks up memory on your reel from being sun-dried or just
You know, when you get it out,
and
So it could be positive or negative, or
Yeah,
you see the foam cord effect, they call it.
Yeah,
It's
gotcha.
a
Yeah.
memory.
uh,
Braid won't have it.
well,
Not as much, though.
yeah, not as
Not
much.
as much. It does have a little bit. Yeah.
The only thing that's bad is sometimes using a certain lure, it can cause your braid to twist.
Spoon.
So spoons do it, like he said. Corkies do it a lot. Those are the things that you'll start seeing that your line looks like it's really twisted when you bring it in.
and regardless of what you put on it, you'll still see.
Yeah,
that
you're
motion.
gonna see that, and that'll start causing wind knots. And
Yeah.
Stuff. So how you set up your reel is very important, and what you throw with it, and your line size and all that. So that's the reason why we push. Come into the shop. We'll put you in that right. We'll get you balanced out with your rod. We'll get you the right line. You know, every rod is meant for a specific size and weight. So all your balances need to be correct for you to have a good fishing trip. I mean,
So, and by that you mean, I mean this rod has a weight on class on it. It's 6 to 15. That means your reel should have a 6 to 15 type drag on it,
correct.
and your line doesn't necessarily have to be 6 to 15. Most people use 25 or 30 pounds, but the drag is set at that 6 to 15 type.
But that's some
range.
specs, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're still set on mono specs,
Yeah,
right?
and basically mono is fine because all this is, you know, when you buy the line, like everything compares back to mono.
Mhm.
That's
Yes.
why it's a 6 pound or it's an 8 pound. That's mono size that they're letting you know, so it fits on that reel. But you also got to pay attention on your weights.
Right.
You know, if it's a quarter, if it's a 1/8 to what's that one?
The rod
one
tells you. The rod
is
tells you
an
what
8 to 3/4.
Yeah.
See, so
you put an ounce in there.
you
correct.
know, I guess it's a good point to bring it up. You know, that's a 1/8 to 3/8 ounce rod. So when you you like to throw bait and you want to use that rod, you know, it's not a good idea to set up a double shock leader with, a double drop leader with a 1 ounce weight.
No shit.
Yeah.
And then you're chunking that out, and you come back to the shop and say,
Hey.
"Hey, my tip snap."
Yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah.
you know,
And we see it all the time. I mean, we see it with some of the lighter and so there's two things that we see on rods, and mostly, and so people want a really light, sensitive rod, but you know you're gonna start chunking bait on it,
or
and
top waters.
or top waters, right? Because they're heavy too.
They're heavy.
The other thing that we see too is
slow rigs are
people. The
I
other
didn't say
action. the other thing we see here is with action, right? So action has a lot to do with the overall strength and not strength, but just kind of the forgiveness of the rod. So a faster rod has less forgiveness, and so if you're using a moderate fast, you can really abuse it a little bit more, and it's gonna be more forgiving. But if you use that faster rod, you're just on that tip part, and that's where people come. And I see people tell me, I've got a fast rod. Can I cast something heavy? You can. It's just these rods break when you whip them back, right?
And
So-
that's why I personally don't recommend it, and that's where that's why I say it's basically that you're getting fitted for a suit. If you want to come into our shop, you come in, tell us what type of fishing you want to do. All right, you want to do artificial, strictly artificial? Yes, I'm gonna throw some top water. I'm gonna throw the 212 rig or whatever, you know, or I want to do.
What is a 212 rig?
All
all right. Are you just
It's the best thing in the market.
sir?
Oh, my God. Well, basically, a 212 rig is a top water with a I guess you can. Do you have any?
A top water?
No, you
no,
don't have
I
any
haven't
212
seen-
rigs?
No, what's up with that? Come on, hey, Smiley,
Hey,
what's up?
Smiley, come on, man. You got to bring in the 212 rig, bro. If not, I'm going to make some.
With the old top waters.
I mean, do you have a top water? Hold on, I got one right here. No, basically the top. It's a top water with a trailer rig, and of course it's been around. You know, a lot of the old school guys have known about it, and Smiley was just a smart enough guy to
Capitalize on it.
package it and put it on the paper and say, you know what, this works, and it does work. I mean, I use it I use it extremely a lot with my customers.
And your baitcaster and your DC4.
And that's a good example of weight versus, because the 212 rig, it's a top water, and it got a trailer rig, and you got a 1/8 to a 1/4 ounce, jig head on it. So you're adding weight to the tip of your rod. Like you said earlier, you're gonna whip it, you're gonna snap that tip. So, rule of thumb for me is carry 2 rods. You carry your finesse rod, and you carry your top water, or you carry your bait chunk
heavier rod,
yeah, your heavier rod. So you always carry 2 rods. That's the rule of thumb. You got your finesse rod, and then you got the rod that you can do what you want with it.
Yep.
You want to throw a top water, you want to throw heavy weights, that you're good with it. And that 212 rig, it's a good rig. I mean, it's an awesome rig. Like I said, it's been around for a while. He did not say he made it. He just got smart and said, you know what, I'm going to put it on a package and I'm going to put it out there. But he did make some changes to it. The top water itself is a little different. I've heard a lot of guys that say, hey, well, I can go and just buy a top water and put a trailer on
smaller, right?
And tie it off. It is a little bit smaller. It's got some minor modifications to it. It's actually louder. Even the noise that it makes, it's got a different bearing inside. They are ordered for specific
for this purpose.
Yeah, for the purpose that it's used for. I mean, the other thing with that rig is that when you use it, it's simple. You don't have to work it as a top water. You can just throw it and reel it in. It works. So that rig it's an awesome rig.
It's a very user friendly rig in the sense of you don't have to be a very experienced angler to be effective with it. Correct. And I honestly I don't like fishing cork. I mean, I just don't like fishing it.
And that's a good way to go off.
And I like fishing with a 212 for sure.
I mean, I wish we had one, but we didn't bring one.
I've asked Smiley, but he said no. So.
Next time. So,
hey, quit playing with the rods with it.
All right. So we talked about rods, reels. There's a lot of rods out there, and there's a lot of people that make really great rods, and you don't have to spend $150 rod or for a rod or $200 rods. To get a good rod out there, and so really, when you said, when you're the important thing when you're buying a rod is making sure that you're aware that what type of fishing you're going to be doing, right? Are you looking for something finesse, or are you looking for something that's going to be more abusive out there, and then from there, I mean, that's really the first thing that really helps you narrow down, and then from there you can start choosing individual factors that are important to you, and then you can kind of go and choose that. But in my opinion, that's the most important thing you do, what kind of fishing you're going to be doing, and let's get some rods that are tied into that. So, and
that's right. I mean, the rod is the backbone to your fishing. Mm-hmm. I mean, the reels. I mean, the reels. There's all kinds of reels we can offer you, but there's also all kinds of rods we can offer you, but it's getting the right rod.
Yep.
That you're going to use. I mean, that's what you want.
Absolutely.
I mean, and like you said, I mean, I know we didn't want to say it as much, but you make rods.
Yep.
I mean, you know exactly what you have somebody come in here and tell you, hey, I want to do lure fishing. I'm going to use this type of reel.
Yep.
And you know exactly how to set them up.
Yeah, and that's the same thing that
you're going to guide them into that so that they get the right, they get the right combo set up.
Yep.
So that's what it's about.
And I mean, you guys do the same thing at your shop, right? So you guys say, hey, we're looking for this or that, and then someone comes here, you order a rod, right, whatever, but you guys have rods readily available and say this is kind of where you need to go, and this is kind of fits you, and then you kind of start working with someone's budget, and you kind of pair them up, and then and the one thing that really stood out to me is regardless of what your budget is, you want to spend $400 or $500, or if you want to spend $80 or $75.
There's something for everybody's budget, and I think the I don't know how do you say it. Like the Daiwa, these are what do you want to call them? They're not customs, but they're.
I mean, they're quality rods.
No,
I mean,
but I guess they're mass-produced
they're mass.
rods.
They're mass-produced.
You know, the mass-produced rod, it's not a bad rod. It's a good rod. When you start getting into a custom rod, that's a different aspect. That's more of a personal preference.
Yep.
You know, and that's where you get in with the builder and themselves, and you work with the guy, and you put him step by step on, hey, what kind of guy do you want? That's a different animal. So I've noticed that these Daiwas, even the I don't know what other names. What names of rods do we use out there?
Shimano.
We got Shimano, we got Daiwa,
Falcon.
Duckets, the Falcons. I mean, the Waterloo rods. I mean, they're, you know, you got Waterloo. I mean, what other? I mean, out that old 18
Old
is
18,
coming
yeah.
out. They got a nice $79.
They're good. They're
Yeah.
good price.
I met them. I met those guys a few weeks ago, and they're really cool guys. Like they're just like.
They got a $79 rod. You know, they got a $180 rod that's got
recoil guides. Actually, I saw them. They were selling them at the Houston Fishing Show for like $120, and I almost bought some of them. So like,
Hey,
I just like
for the recoil.
I was just about to say that. I was
like,
man,
wow!
I
Like,
saw that. You know,
like, I saw it for $120, and I was talking to him, and like, oh, I was like, man, like you're selling these, and like that's I don't know how you make
that's
money off of this.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, we all build custom.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something we're not gonna say. Hookline builds, you know.
yeah,
You
but,
know,
but
Palo builds, TTB and Barebone builds. But, you know, like we know what we're doing as far as we want to get that custom customer in there,
Yeah.
and you build for that customer. What we're doing here is more of come in, we're going to set you up with the right rod.
Yep.
A reel where it's not going to break the bank. You're going to still have your nice, like you said, it matches.
yeah, it looks cool, it matches, and it works.
It works.
I mean,
It's gonna catch fish.
It's going to work.
it's more of a you know, when you come in, as Fred was saying, that it's just knowing what you want, other than, you know, going to academy, going to bass, whatever. I mean, you got. We've talked about this 100 million times. You got some, you know, 20-year-old kid that, you know, getting $9 an hour and has no idea what fishing's all about, and working on those departments. And that's when you come to a local shop, you get, you know, the questions, you get, you know, people that know how to fish, people that
Where are the fish biting at?
Yeah.
Rattlesnake.
We have that.
Rattlesnake.
Over by,
I'm just playing.
Technical difficulty.
over by the guy.
Everybody go to the saucer. That's all they use.
But
I know
you
your
get,
fish,
but you get a lot
you know.
more information, right? That's the part we're getting.
Information is king, you know, and that's one thing that we offer that, you know, the other guys don't. Is that, you know, you're out there, you know. I mean, you know, you get guys. I'm sure he's gotten guys that'll tell you, especially you know, the beginning. We're frozen.
Oh, sorry, Rogelio, you want to press that button again? We'll take another 2-minute break
Okay.
here.
Hey, you got wave guides, right? Jeremy, hey, ask him if he's got wave guides.
I don't know how much they hurt me. I'm sorry, people. I mean, where's my family? The year
They left.
they left me, ready to give me a ride.
To the bar.
Hey, Tony,
To
you need
the
take my
saucers.
place.
All right, we're back on, guys.
Oh, we are.
Yeah. So, but yeah, apparently, these guys are gonna go fishing together tonight. They're gonna go to the saucers.
Yeah, saucer is where it's at. You know, I talked to Chris already, Fred. I know what happened. But I don't know where we got cut off. But all we were saying was, you know, guys, it's so much easier when you shop to a local shop and people that know what they're doing. We get people, you know, I'm sure Fred's seen it, that, you know, people don't know how to tie a knot. We'll help them how to tie a knot. You know, put a jig head on a lure. I mean, that's something that we offer that they don't.
Right. No, I
They
mean,
don't.
and so I have a very much a different appreciation for it. I mean, when I first grew up and when I was kind of getting into fishing and kind of doing more on my own, you go to academy, you was like just spooling your reels and like, you know, whatever. And then you go out there and there's a lot of stuff there. How do you choose and how do you know? And, you know, how do you know these jig heads will work on these lures that you're working on and blah, blah, blah. And there's a lot of things you can go through, and you just don't have anyone there that has the insight or the background or the experience to kind of help guide you.
I actually had a guy come tell me one time, because, you know, I've gone to academy. We all, you know, been there. And especially when they have the, you know, good stuff on sale, clothes or whatever, and I go to the fishing department and I'll mess around with the guy, man. What's the best goat? What's the best topwater? And it's like looking, a deer in a headlight, and it's like, man, I'm just giving for the shoe department over here. I'm taking, taking, Joe's break over here or whatever. And, it's just, and we're, our prices are so competitive to the big boys, it's shop local. I mean, okay, so they might have the lure 20 cents cheaper, to 25 cents cheaper than we are. I mean, really going to go all the way over there?
I think another thing I've learned also, just for the few weeks that we've been open, is people come back and give you feedback.
Yeah.
And that's awesome to see. Like, I'll have somebody come in and like, I bought this particular lure. They take off, come back the next week. Oh man, it worked badass, or it didn't work.
And that's
that's
the feedback you get to share.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
one of the things from us being local is we both have guides that shop at our shops. So that's the best intel you're gonna get. Guides.
That's true, man.
Guides that are there consistently. Oh, I was there this week. I was over here. We're not gonna give up your spot.
The saucers.
But we're gonna let. We're gonna
saucer.
We'll let them know what lure you were using that day.
Marker 212.
A 212. A 212 at the saucers with the Daiwa DC and Finn's 40G. I got it.
It gives them that opportunity to find out what really works out there. Because
it does, really does,
and it has nothing to do with anybody. I mean, I like to promote a lot of our local lure builders that are coming out from the area, but we get a lot of people guides that post pictures and stuff. So they'll come in here and, hey, what were they using? And we know, and of course, they're
there's
they're pro staff, so they're gonna promote what they have sometimes. But when they come into the shop, we know what they actually use, or not that they're hiding anything from anybody, but it's what it is. So when you come in, you get that extra knowledge from the local shop. What guides are using, and that's
even if they won't tell you.
Yeah, we get the intel.
Yeah, it makes a good point. I had this, and I'm not going to mention any names, but he's from out of Port Mansfield. But
and he makes 212.
and he comes in the other day and he buys about 4 packs of a certain Norton. I don't remember what it was, and and literally told him like this, they're hidden, they're working. He goes, nah, I'm just trying them out. 4 packs,
sure, 4 packs.
Yeah, okay. So that's what he's talking about the intel. I'm like, okay, well, that was.
They'll come in, they'll grab 8 packs.
Yeah.
That's not your brand. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You don't say it, but they welcome. And like you said, TTFs, they're going back into that old school stuff.
Yeah.
That
So what's hitting right now? I mean, what are things there people
shrimp and mullet
on a 212 apparently.
On the 212 rig.
You sell shrimp and mullet now, man?
No, I mean.
There's a lot of people out there.
There's a lot of good brands.
There's a lot of good rock.
I mean, you got.
Is there people asking actually that or not?
No, I just mean kind of.
Well, I mean, you got Down South Kelly, Norton, RGV, AM. They're all great lures. Spoons have been of course your Corkies. What we're talking about earlier. Corkies are hot right now. The custom colors that we both carry. And they may be different brands, but they do the same job.
Corkies are in season right now. Right now, everybody's going to go after that big trout in February. They want to catch that big trout. You know what I mean? So
for the Gorditos tournament,
at the
Corkies. Yeah, at the saucer.
You're going to have 50 boat or 24 boats.
I think that's where Fred caught the last the last trout. It was 25. My friend at the saucer. At the saucer. And then I think it was next to marker 212.
I've seen it out there.
The Corkies work well. I mean, right now, Corkies are getting in there. I'm not going to bash Gulp. You can buy it, use it. Gulp's been on fire.
We're big believers of Gulp. So.
And then again, we got our locals like RGB and AM that they're pretty hot right now. They got some nice colors. That stuff's working very well. Down south has always been they've been here for ages. Kelly Wigglers as well. Those guys have been around forever.
Yeah, that's how I learned how to throw salt plastics on Down South.
And they're here for a reason because the lure works. I mean, I say find a lure you like that when you throw, you feel that's the lure you're going to catch.
And it's funny because it is a comfort level. It's a comfort thing.
It's all about confidence.
Yeah,
it's all about confidence. You have that confidence. You get some people that come in there. I'm sure you can attest to the story. You get people in there like, Like I had this guy today looking for a certain hoagie, and I'm like, man, that one hadn't sold it. This one's the greatest lure in the world. Man. I mean, I've been catching them just like, okay, there you go. You get, and he's
Confidence,
it
yeah.
was just a confidence level in his part that he wanted. He said, this never fails me, and I'm like, well, it's just the confidence level and everything. So that's a good point to bring out.
So a lot of lures, a lot of them work out there, and just kind of getting out there, fishing, kind of knowing how to work them, and that just takes time being on the water and doing that. So, so we covered. So regardless of which lure you're using, do you see any kind of questions around how do you rig this up? How do you what's the right size jig head? What are kind of questions people are asking about? Okay, I want to take a pack of these lures here, and what do we do with them? How do we do it?
I think it's important to. My suggestion is the manufacturer, and I'm gonna bring out Kenny Waitlers in this point, because Wayne Davis, he's got several jig heads for his products.
He does.
Okay, and there's a reason why they're there. I've had people come in here and they ask me at the shop. Well, they'll ask us at the shop, hey, you got this jig head? And I'm like, yeah, it's over there or whatever. And then they bring the plastic they're gonna put it on, and it's like, you got a different out size. That's a 3/0, and you need about a 4 or 5 for that lure. What are you doing? Well, yeah, I like it. I lose a lot of fish, but you're losing a lot of fish because you're using the wrong jig head. So I
get hit all the time.
Yeah, and that's a big thing that people need to understand. Just because your friend says that he was using that jig head and he was killing it, necessarily that's
on a
not
down south.
Yeah, that's not the right one. Kelly makes a jig head for their lures. It might not have the eyes, it might not have the color you want, but the hook size is what you're really interested in.
And that's true. They spec it for their.
Yeah, I mean, you get an AM or a down south, it's a thinner body. You can use a 3 and a 4/0 with it. You get into a Kelly, you're gonna use a 5 and a 6/0 because it's a thicker body, it's a harder body. So when you get that bite, you're not gonna get as much flex into that lure, and you're not gonna get a good hook set.
So that's the kind of stuff you're not going to get at the academy, right, or whatever, right? Like
they're not going to know that.
They're not going to know that. Hey,
what Fred just said right now.
I think the big reason also is because not only
I taught John Barrero something this week.
Not only is a knowledge
about hook set.
Not only is the knowledge that y'all have, but I've learned through these companies themselves aren't really going to give that knowledge to the academies. Because you'll talk to Wayne, you'll talk to Michael, you'll talk to, Monty and Albert, and they'll tell you exactly not only, what to use, how to use it, but they'll tell you, hey, this is flying off the shelf, so it's working well.
Yeah. And
they'll tell you what to go and stock up.
And Mike's like that. And even Mike Bolsey with Down South,
yeah.
He's got his own jig heads for his lures.
Yep.
And that hook, it's set for that. I mean, there's a reason why they have the jig head for the lure. Yeah, a lot of us are, the eyes work, man. I love the eyes. That's what they want, man.
They want the lure.
They want the lure, and they want the action in the lure. That's what it's about.
I like the eye.
And I don't. I didn't want to sound, I'm talking about lures. How dirty can I get on the show? I was gonna say,
I'll go like this.
If it wiggles, you know what I mean. You're gonna like it, right? So that's what the lure's about. It's got a lot of action in the ass. We'll take it. So
we're rated PG though.
Yeah,
we just bumped up the R.
We just bumped up
We're kind of playing that line right there.
So no, I mean, down south. I mean, you got down south there. They have their own jig heads.
Yep.
And there's a reason why it's a certain size for their lure.
Yep.
And it's for you to get the best hook set possible.
Okay.
And that's what it's about. I mean, there's a lot of other, we got Z-Man jig heads. What else? I mean, there's other jig heads out there, but
there's a lot of them out there.
Pay attention to the size that you're going to put on your lure. That's the main thing.
So size, and so like you said, jig heads by manufacturers usually line up pretty well with their respective jig heads or their lures that they make, and so so that's good. And I know Albert and Monty are kind of like trying to figure that out.
Oh,
I'll give you some pointers, Monty.
Monty seems to catch a lot of fish too, so he's working it right now. But all right, so we talked about rods, reels, line, lures. Let's talk about some of the other kind of the accessories that you need to, or things to be considering when you're out there. So a lot of people are into wading, so we kind of talked previously with Monty about kind of some of the gears that he takes. But what are your things that you see that that people that are waiting? I mean, what are they looking for?
I think your number one is going to be your boot. The boot that we have here is
Why is your boot so important?
for one. It starts at your feet. I mean, you're gonna walk and you're gonna. I mean, if you wait a lot, you're gonna walk for hours. Yeah. So what you have on your feet is important. And number one is protection from the stingray. There's various boots out there, and there's various brands. This brand that we brought, it's something that is, I guess,
Common. Everybody, you know,
it's economical in price. I mean, people, it's something you can find. It's durable. It's been around forever. People use it. It's a stingray guard with a boot. So
Is that the new one?
no, this is the Forever Last brand. That,
No, but Forever Last had mentioned just recently that they were gonna change their
boot.
their guard.
Yeah, it's the boot guard.
this is the
No, not that. That's the.
this is a Ray Guard, the most common one that I know.
Apparently they're going out to. I think in ICAST they're gonna announce
Probably.
new.
And you know, everybody does that in ICAST.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I mean, those particular ones, I like them. They're very, they do help, but at times they do tend to
rub you on the top of your knee.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, I used to wait a lot. But
Why wouldn't we believe that?
Why does Tony laugh?
Why don't I believe it?
The problem, and let me see. The problem with these is that, and everybody, that's the number one getter to everybody is when you put these on and you're waiting, this top part will rub up right under your knee, on your shin. So I've always recommended soccer socks. That way they go up above the knee, and then you can put them on.
That's a good point.
I think I was putting them on wrong because eventually they'd end up in my hips.
So,
Hey, but you were using pantyhose with those things, man.
yeah. So I mean, they're pretty standard. If you have a wife that sews, they come with a strap. Okay, so to keep it from slipping, put your foot in this, in here, and then
See, mine don't even have that. I guess I have the old one.
They're Forever Last. They should, unless they're.
Oh, you know what? They're not Forever Last.
Then there you go.
Yeah, you can put.
Stop shopping at Academy.
Actually, I got them at the tackle shop here in McAllen. What's the name?
Yeah, so
Joe's.
Yeah,
He's no longer here, so that's fine.
That's what.
Burnt. Hey! I'm gonna red flag. All right?
That's what this strap is for. All right, you can tighten it up. You want to tighten the knot, make it tighter around your calf, and it'll keep you from slipping. But yeah, that problem about them slipping when you waited, if it wasn't the fixed boot, a lot of people would complain about that.
But what about the ones that already come with? I mean, we carry them too, but they're a little
that's why
higher
I told
though.
them the fixed boot.
That's what you meant.
Yeah, a lot of people complain about the fixed boot. There's a lot of people just waiting with a booty now that they totally have disregard for this.
That's me.
When you get stung by a stingray, you're gonna find out why you lose.
Don't say that.
And there's other boots out there that are out there. There's that new Barnes boot that Joe carries. It's 100% stingray protected.
Same way where the guard is built into the boot.
But it has a guard?
No, it's made out of Kevlar.
But it doesn't have a guard.
They didn't have that. It's just a boot, and I mean,
What's the price point on that?
about almost $200. Yeah, it's just like when you're to high end, like Fred's Sims,
You need some more
stuff
water.
like that. I know that water,
Why do
man.
you gotta call Sims high end?
No,
We
but-
got a clearance aisle.
Hey, you know what? I just told Sam actually. I saw their waiters. They're not horrible. In price wise.
No, Sims has a good warranty on it, so I
They
don't.
got some that are.
Look, I don't want to speak about Sims because I don't know a lot about Sims. Tony knows a lot about the Sims. So,
Good, better,
So,
best on Sims.
There you go.
What does
yeah,
Sims
I
start
don't even
at?
wanna
A
speak
Sims
up.
179. One says
That's
200.
the low end.
So they're
Get his
230 is
picture
what?
So people can know what he looks like.
They're 230. What is that? Better or best?
The 279 is the
See, he knows all the pricing.
So 279 or 7. You get some good sim waiters for about 279. So,
Not bad.
yeah. But what waiting season's about? I mean, just about done, huh?
Or at least waiter.
Well,
season.
Not till March.
It's March, but for some reason, I might go on a limb here, but I think we might get extended till about April, man, because we really haven't gotten cold here.
Yeah.
So we're
It
still,
hasn't been.
January. I'm looking at what the
April's
last
already
year's number.
summer, buddy.
You know, but nah, I think February might just surprise
Come
us.
get it.
I think February might surprise us a little bit. Can you get Fred some water?
So please.
No ice though. He didn't like the ice. No gusto. All right.
All right. So wading boots are important. You're doing a lot of them. These Everlast are a good way to go.
They're really good. They're solid. They're very durable, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they're solid boots.
You ever
I
use
mean,
these?
look how heavy they
They're a
are.
little heavy, but
But they're. I mean, you want, you get light. You know, it's not going to protect you as much. That's just the bottom line.
See, and it all depends, I guess, on the boot. But I bought these again. I'm not, Everlast. They have a very good product. I have a very fat foot, and they were not very comfortable on my foot.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, they don't carry quadruple E, but no, they most things are just made in a standard D, I guess, right, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
No, I am a double E.
I'll say quadruple.
Jacob says those are the ones he's had for a while. And
But Jacob's what 4'3"?
Jacob, let's clarify, Jacob. How tall are you?
Aren't you taller than Jacob?
Barely. Jacob, we got to settle this, Jacob. Let us
Hey,
know how
man.
tall you are.
I gotta stand up here.
I made a video with him last week or so. I think it was last week, and somebody mentioned that I was taller than him, and I was like, "Shit, I'm taller than somebody else, man."
That's why I like standing next to you and Jacob. I look huge. I'm 5'7".
I'm 5'5", so Jacob must be 5'3".
Jacob, we got
I'm sorry, bro.
Hey, we're over here talking about 5'5". We got two guys that are 7 foot away.
Yeah.
No shit. That's why they're off camera.
That's why they're off
Yeah,
camera.
that's why we don't. Jacob says 5'5", so there we go.
Oh, he's listening
He's
still. Huh?
5'5".
Hey, man.
Is that rounded up or?
I'm 5'6.5".
And Roy saying he's a big fan of the Sims products all day. So
No, Sims is a good product. I mean, if you're really looking for something that custom fits you, Sims. There's other products out there that we can get you fit in. I mean, there's various boots out there that we carry, both of us. Everlast, the Sims. What's the other? You carry anything else besides the Barnes?
No, that forever. Oh, Hodgman.
The Hodgman boots as well, and even in the waders too. The Hodgman is
Yeah.
it's a less expensive.
You just got your customer. Rudy says he's going to the shop for the Sims.
for the 179,
So,
he's gonna
but you know
and
what?
the
They'll be on
$10
sale tomorrow if you go there, right?
and the $10 spoil. So
$10 and 50% off Sims.
That's how we do it. Now I know why you bought lunch today. Have me spooning a bunch of reels in the back.
Hey, but
Hey, man, we're out of this 1,500 spool already, man. I don't know what happened, man.
I'll plug Hodgman. I really like the
Hodgman,
Hodgman.
it's a good brand. I mean, Sims is one of the. I mean, they're known for their quality.
Yeah.
And like you said, Fred said, fitting for sizes. Hodgman has, I think their most expensive Raiders are about $400. I think I've seen Sims 600 and something, right? If,
No, they got
Tony,
They got like a $2,800.
850,
oh,
840,
Don't they have
848,
a $2,000
848,
waiter?
30.
How much was yours, Bill?
Did you buy him from him?
900.
Did you buy him from
No.
him?
It was a custom size. It was a custom size.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
okay.
right. Okay, that makes sense.
Man, and that's because they custom make for him, but they said he was too big.
Wow.
They said he was too
The
big.
biggest waiters were too small for Bill.
What?
Well,
It's-
and they said they will fly him in and measure him,
Really?
but that's like
Yeah, that's like a different.
going back to the Hodgman, I think that's a good all around waiter. If you're gonna do it part time and you're not a hardcore winter waiter, I think that's a good waiter. We carry the neoprenes.
The other thing is they have that what do they call that bib that you put underneath it also.
yeah.
So they have different things you buy with
Yeah,
it.
everyone has their little features on there. So
The thing with the Hodgman is a lot of people complain that they leak. It's like everything else. Take care of them. Don't take them off at the boat dock and throw them in the back of the truck.
No.
Leave them in there
Yeah.
all week. And
told
then
one guy to cut
hey,
his toenails.
Hey, they're waiting. They're leaking already. Well, you take them off when you get home, rinse them off, and hang them
Hang
up.
'em
Let them dry in your garage, not in the sun. They're glued together. Some of them are stitched, but the majority of them are what, heat and glued.
Pressed, yeah.
Yeah.
They're pressed. So I mean,
With anything, I mean,
you want maintenance. Everything.
we've
takes
had
time.
a couple.
I
of
like.
them
I mean, I would put literally warm ups underneath it, and they were dry when I got out of the water.
that,
I like
so,
them.
but it's just with everything. You just it's just like a rod. They throwing that weight that Fred was talking about. Hey, piece of shit broke. Hey, buddy.
I know all about
Get
that.
into the art. We're getting to the art.
All right.
But no, yeah, just
Let's keep it G.
Yeah, let's keep it G.
All right.
So we talked about boots, waiters, ray guards. What are other things that?
What's
keep it
new
there?
for 2020?
I want to know where's a bar and grill around here after this. I'm hungry.
Fred's new for 2020. I got Tony over there for 2020.
So what are things?
Oh, this is what happens when you start drinking the alcohol. I apologize, Joe Holix. No, I don't recommend this. That's
And,
Fred.
and that's at his ultra, man. Like,
He's drinking water. Here, have another drink.
have some more water.
Yeah,
It's good water.
this is really good water, though.
It burns. It's not natural from all the way from Ireland, but
It's actually really good, though.
yeah,
Well, they switched this up.
Oh,
We're drinking Smiley's favorite,
water
212.
for
See,
cleaning
man,
for
real
cleaning
cleaning.
I back you up, bro.
for cleaning his reels. Yeah. So any other kind of waiting equipment? What about pliers and What about pliers?
Okay.
We carry some, the
Dankos, Landers.
Danko. Landers has really become really popular down here. Danko. That's pretty much really, we don't.
The top of the line is Danko and Landers right now.
They make good. They're aluminum, and speaking to what I had a customer bought a pair of Landers today. It's aluminum, right? And he was checking, so it's not, in Spanish. He was telling me it's not going to rust, and I'm like, well,
It's the saltiest.
I go, and that's why I brought that point up. And I was like, well, maybe in a year or so, but corrosion will happen no matter what. Stainless steel, it doesn't rust. Yes, it
rusts,
does. Here in the valley, it does.
Yep.
Maybe up there, it don't. Maybe in New York, it won't. But you just have to, maintenance them. I am guilty of this. I got pliers and I use them and put them in a pocket and that's it.
Yep.
And
The next time until they
and then
don't
when-
work.
Until they don't work, like, hey, they're hard now. So it's just maintenance, man. It's just a little bit of everything. A little bit of
Basic
maintenance.
rinsing on everything, man.
Basic.
I lay everything out on the driveway and just rinse it off.
Yeah.
I know.
That's it.
I'm lazy.
What about waiting belts? Carlos is asking, what do you guys recommend on a waiting belt?
They make a good one. The
Everlast has a good one. It's actually an all-in-one. It's got
a little bit of everything.
It's got a stringer.
Pliers?
It's got your pliers. It's got your tackle box.
What's that cost?
I think you're what?
45?
$45 to $50 range, maybe.
With tax.
No.
Cash price.
Hey,
Plus 8 points.
Is that the cash price? Or?
Man, Tony's on point, man. Shit.
He's looking
Yeah,
everything
Tony.
up on Amazon right now. I'm just messing with you.
But yeah,
I'm actually impressed too, man. Shit.
hey, Mike, you're getting fired. Get off for Tony and John. So,
From 9 to 4, he'll be on TTV. From the rest of the day, he'll be
we
over
can
here.
split Tony. The Everlast. I think Everlast is an all-around waiting belt that's been around. I think TTF has one as well that comes with everything, and then we got those other custom, like Easy Wade.
Yeah.
There's another one. What's that brand? Not Easy Wade.
Tony?
The one that Bobby uses. Is it Easy Wade? It's with the custom stitch with his name. It is Easy
They
Wade?
do that. They do that.
All these details, but yeah, that's what
Okay, I'm sorry.
See, all you have to do is ask Tony.
So,
He's not drinking water.
I mean, Easy Wade is a very popular one, and
They're very popular.
but the difference from like a belt like an Easy Wade is it's more of a belt with a rod holder. It's got some side pockets in it where you can put stuff.
Back support, yeah.
It's you're paying for the comfort on that one.
The comfort
It's a
level
comfort.
one.
Speaking of that, I'm gonna trade one if y'all are willing.
I
got a new one.
Color one. Can I trade it?
I got a new one with an ugly color
had
that
that
came
color,
in.
the purple and gold one. Oh yeah.
Purple and gold, you sell that in Louisiana,
Oh
man.
my
I
God.
have an orange and something.
I wanted to keep it, but business not people. But no, the weight belts. Yeah, you know what? I mean, if it was me, if you're into weighting and you want to get started, even people that are into it, Everlast has a good belt. I mean, it's got everything you need. It's stringers. There's all kinds of stringers out there. You got Stinky Pants. You got Grind. We got some local vendors that are coming up with
seen that.
Similar
Yeah.
models.
Finn, what is it? What's his name? Cal.
I've seen it. I've seen it. You know, in the. But
and actually,
yeah.
one of our guys, Rudy Celedon, is using that, and he really, really likes it.
I mean, they all have a similar concept. The only thing is, and I know a lot of people don't see it, but we are seeing it more. We're seeing sharks out there more.
Sharks?
Yeah.
do you
So
mean by
when you're
sharks?
waiting out there, that's the only difference from a belt.
I'm not waiting anymore.
You know, these cable stringers versus I guess what
Something
is
that
it?
tears that plastic or
Yeah,
rubber.
you
like,
want, you know, I've had some people that call me, well, I'm scared of the sharks. Okay, well, we got this type of
a rubber
stringer
type
that'll
thing.
work for you, and you can, even the Everlast is all rubber. It's not plastic. The stringer you get, I believe it's an all rubber.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
it's just like a cord. So, I mean, overall, like I said, TTF has a good one. It comes with the tackle box. It comes with the waiter, with your pliers, the belt, the accessories, the rod holder. So those are kind of, I mean, it's more of what you want to fit into the way you want to fish. I got guys that wear a back strap with a rod holder, and they put the rod up here to keep it out of the water because, you know,
It's
when
high.
when you wear your wading belt, you got your rod holder right here.
Well, if you're short, like Jacob.
Yeah. So Jacob puts it around his neck, and then he puts the rod in the back. I'll just play Jacob. So
I'm not talking about you, bro.
He has a rod holder on his cap.
I'm fishing with them on Sunday, so I can't, you know, I can't make fun of them right now, man. You know,
I'll just
you guys,
You may not be fishing with him anymore.
Jacob said
Don't tell me to say that. Just so you know.
Oh, if he's not listening, his ears are red.
No, he said safety first. So
So yeah, I mean, it's preference as well, and then if you know the more experienced waders that know what they're, you know, they know the levels of the depth they're gonna be in and what they want. That's when you start upgrading to a more professional wading belt, like an easy wade belt, or
I think even less is. I mean, again, I'm not a professional wader, but
less is more.
I've learned that less is better. I mean,
In some
I don't
cases
hardly
it
wade
is, but
myself.
I mean, you'll have that wader that has
everything.
they'll have the easy weight belt, and then they got the satchel over the back here, and they got a rod holder on the left
They got everything.
side.
They got everything.
You know,
on there.
those guys, it's their type of fishing. You know? So I mean, everybody's different. I think it's more what fits you.
We're gonna have to excuse me for a potty break, so y'all keep keep this hot.
Yeah, Fabian. Hey, Tony's
you gonna go with him or what?
Yeah,
No, I want to stand up. My butt hurts.
yeah, it's been.
And Tony's in the potty, just to let you know.
We have to.
All right. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Brought to you by HLS and TTB.
Hey,
They can still hear you.
oh,
Oh, yeah.
okay, never mind.
All right.
So now that Sam's not here, we're gonna talk about Sam.
So, what happened to my family? Oh, that's really? All right.
Dinner might not happen.
Yeah, no, I'm still hungry,
Might
man.
have to pick something up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions out there?
I can't see the question.
Can you see the questions?
There, he's back.
I'm back. Y'all.
We didn't make funny.
You didn't make fun of me. Jacob says he feels attacked, so I feel good, right? So
It's by Fred, not
it's
by
my
me.
friend. Man, guys, honestly, like we covered a lot of stuff here. We can keep on. I think we can keep on talking hours.
We
and
can be here
hours.
till midnight.
Yeah, well, and I'm fine with that too. But I think some of our guests are
Y'all gonna
going to
make
be at
the
that
show,
too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, let's
So we'll
before
plug
we
that
end,
in.
Before we end.
And again,
Yeah,
we're not gonna end
absolutely.
yet, but I will definitely plug that in, guys. You know, we are gonna have the All Valley Boat Show February 7th, 8th, and 9th, I believe.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. 2
again,
weeks from
this
today.
weekend, yeah.
Yeah.
Today, yeah.
You know, hit these guys up. I
Yeah,
mean, again,
shop
you know, this
local,
is-
guys. We stress this a lot. I mean, I know we joke around and this and that, but I was telling Fred this afternoon. You know, you see these things in some of the pages, and I'm not gonna mention the page's name, but hey, let's recommend this or you recommend that, and you know, I'm looking at and 80% of the people like go to Academy, go to this, go to that. I'm like, come on, guys, local.
Yeah,
You know?
no. Obviously, like you're gonna get so much more, and like in addition
Information. If you want to know the information,
not
shop
even
local.
like information. Like every time like we go in there, like to any of y'all shop, like y'all give us a hard time. Y'all, you remember us, and like you just kind of like it's a good feeling. Like people are in there hanging out, joking, and it's
It's a different atmosphere.
It's just
a different. It's
feel-
we put on a show for our customers. Basically, he knows his customers. I know my customers. We joke around. We have a good. It's a good time.
yeah.
It's a good time.
And it's a lot, if you're gonna buy a reel, why not buy it from someone that you
And we're the same price as the big boys.
Yeah.
If not, maybe even a little less, right, Fred?
Look, if you're gonna go to Academy, you're from Harlingen and you drive out there, the gas you're gonna spend to get to Academy. I mean, to save, I've seen it.
I'm laughing because
to save $5. Go ahead and put $15 in your gas tank and go to Academy Westico if you feel it's worth it instead of supporting the local shops. I mean, even you all are local, so I mean, you all need that support as well.
we stress this enough. I stress it all the time. Every time I post up that shop local, it's just I'm really strongly for it because like one thing I want to plug in real quick, and I know Fred's done this, but we sponsored high school kids and whatever. You see the sponsorship $50 posters that they're at, right? Do you ever see them at Academy or Bass Pro Shop? No.
Nope.
Okay, just remember that.
Yeah,
So no sponsors this year.
if you want a sponsorship, go to
Academy, and then
Remember the $10 line,
get your $10 line and get your sponsorship.
And what's the Sims? What 50% off? Tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, actually, so we did have a question here. It was around what kind of discounts do the pro rookies get on Sims? So.
Oh shit. 50.
the pro rookies actually pay double.
So pro rookies.
Pro rookies. Hey, Tom, good. He read us. Oh, you know who he is. Hey, the pro rookies, aren't those the guys that are always trying to beat wet dreams?
Oh.
So pro rookies, it seems like you don't get a discount. And you have a fee, not a discount. So,
There goes that.
But no, so definitely we got the boat show coming up here in a few weeks. You guys will have all these gears and so much more. We talked a lot about a lot of different products and a lot of different things here. Definitely you come to the show, come to their shop and just learn a lot about
Just
fishing.
support us, man. That's all we ask.
Or
Just come in and support us and ask questions. We're here to help. That's the bottom line. We can answer the questions better than anybody can.
If not, we'll find the right person to ask.
Tony, obviously.
Exactly.
Tony always has.
Well, if you want to know about Sims merchandise and custom stuff, I mean, this is the guy to go to over here. Yeah. You might want to turn the camera
Hey,
on.
you gotta put him on
You gotta
camera.
you gotta give him one shot.
Tony, you got to come up.
Hey, you need to put Tony on camera.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
Big Bill.
Big Bill,
Hey,
no,
Big Bill.
Bill got away.
Big Bill, you gotta be on the camera, Big Bill.
Yeah. So, Rogelio, can you just kind of turn the
Come
camera
here,
a little
Tony.
bit, but don't disconnect.
Look at Big Bill's right here.
Oh,
Leaving.
man.
Bill, you can see you on the
Oh.
other side of the damn shelf.
So this was been our audience the entire time. And actually, we had a few more people. Bill's actually looking at a shirts on the back over there.
He's looking at the women's shirts.
He's
So they're
looking
not
at the
going to
women's
fit
shirt.
you, Bill.
We're gonna fit him though.
Yeah.
You can't even hide him. He's over there taller than the damn shelf.
So
You
obviously
see the shiny head over there? I see it. Yeah.
somewhere in the background over there.
Look at
How was this? Oh man!
But,
what a good time this has been. Where's Bill? 'Cause he doesn't give me a beer.
So Roy says vet fees are going up. So the pro rookie.
There goes my guy.
There goes your guy. There goes our guy. All the other guys.
Oh, yeah, he's telling me no. Oh, y'all are hooked over there too, really? Hey, Roy. Okay, you know what? We gotta talk. I see what you're doing now, man. This here doesn't work. You said I was the only one.
My dog was dying.
Hey, I don't. I'm not gonna say what he did to my dog.
Is it alive?
Look at Tony.
Tony
Hey,
seems
Bill.
like Tony knows the story. So, but anyways, I really thank you guys a lot for coming to our shop. I know we've been talking about this. It's been a blast. I mean, I really want to do this again. Like sincerely, like it's just been really fun. Like
We'll
I
do it
mean,
again.
Like we've been at this
do it in
for
Harlingen.
almost like in Harlingen.
HGN. What were you saying? Classics?
No, we'll go to Frankie Flames or something out there at a neutral.
No, classics is cool. We go by and put bumper stickers on all their cars, anyways.
Oh, okay. So we'll go somewhere out there, but definitely this was a lot of fun, guys. I definitely enjoyed this. But then, yeah, come check them out. Hook, Line, and Sinker, the Tackle Box Shop in Harlingen, and then come check them out at the All Valley Boat Show, February 7th.
We'll be there in 2 weeks. Remember, guys, support local shops.
And not only that, both of these guys are. I mean, obviously, you're a sponsor of those Gorditos tournament.
I'm a
That's
sponsor,
coming up pretty
and
quick.
that'll be let's do a little.
Yeah, let's
plug-in
talk
for
about
Gord-
that. So when's the Gorditos tournament?
I believe it's.
I believe I'm doing that.
I believe
Where's
he doesn't
Tony?
know.
Where's Tony?
Tony?
Tony, when's that?
Tony, you know.
Tony's about numbers. Tony knows the numbers.
I know Tony's a number guy. Tony's a number guy. And is this on camera that I'm putting derechos on the damn thing?
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
No,
Damn.
we have a filter and it
Okay.
filters out.
Make sure you filter that out, sir. That's just not right. It's not good. That shit ain't
Okay.
right.
Well, we actually have 2 tournaments, and one of them is actually Hector Randall's.
Okay.
And that's an all-artificial tournament. I believe that's on the 22nd of February. So that's a live weigh-in. It's actually a series. It's the second one. So if y'all want to get in that one,
What's that one called?
It's the Redfish series.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the second tournament already of the season. So if you want to get in that one, give us a call. Let us know. You can get a hold of Hector Randall also. And it's got live DJ, food, beverages. It's family orientated. It's gonna be held at Delray Park in Navarro City. So you know it's a fun environment. We try to host it for everybody. We want family to be involved in this deal. Same thing with Los Gorditos. Los Gorditos is it's actually on March 14th.
So why the name Los Gorditos?
I was literally. I've known this guy for a long time. I've never asked him that question. And I was actually going to
Well,
ask
technically I wasn't Gordito.
that. But so what? No, but it's the 7th annual, right?
Yeah, no, it's the 9th.
Ninth.
Ninth.
It's been
Already,
for 9
really?
years already, bro.
Ninth.
So
You've been involved since the beginning?
yeah, from the beginning. It actually started with a friend of mine. His name is Raymond Moses. He's a big guy. We just threw it together one year. Our first year, we had like 15 boats. You know, it was just a bunch of guys that got together, and it worked out. You know, we had fun. Los Gorditos, you know, it was a bunch of big guys. You know,
Yeah.
that liked to drink and barbecue. So that was the first tournament, first annual. And then and I want to give thanks to Joe because he's been with us since the first actual tournament. You know, he sponsored us from day one, so he's helped us provide for the last 8 years, you know, gifts and raffle prizes for this deal. So you know, it's slowly, you know, it started with 15 boats. I mean, you're talking about maybe 50 fishermen. We're close to about 250 anglers already.
Oh wow.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
and it's big enough that I've already been requested to move it to the island, but the nostalgic of where it's at, you know, it's already been in the Royal for the last 9 years. It brings the revenue to the Royal City.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to keep it there. It's not something we need to move. You know, 250 anglers is not something you don't want to move to another location.
No, not when you're that big already.
Yeah, so
No, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. When you know,
our payouts are awesome. You know, I mean, one thing we do is we know people spend money to be in these tournaments. As we do competitive fishing a lot myself, we fish a lot of tournaments, so I know what it takes to fish a tournament. It costs money. You know, your entry level, you know, your side pots, your gas, your ice, your drinks. I mean, you can spend some money. So these payouts that we do are high payouts. So that's one of the factors we put out. One of the big things that I want to put out is that we've been donating to the VFW, the veterans, for about the last 4 years. And actually, Ruben Garcia from San Antonio got in contact with me about 5 years ago, and that's when we started this deal. So we donate some of the proceeds towards the Veterans Memorial Wall for that chapter. It's not that chapter; it's an overall chapter. It's for veterans from Desert Storm. So they're trying to build a
That's
memorial
awesome. I didn't
wall
know that, man.
in San Antonio. Yeah, we've been doing that for the last 5 years. He'll come down and he's gonna be here this one as well, and he'll give his speech and let everybody know the thanks. And actually, I think they're getting ready. They're getting ready to break ground next year.
Okay.
So this thing's been going on already for about 5 years. And then we have a local church, Limitless organization out of Harlingen that helps us out with serving the food. So we donate to them, and then we've always helped Brownsville Zoo out of Brownsville. They need all the help they can
Yeah.
get. You know, anything they can get to keep that zoo going.
I-
So
I mean, this is all the same reason we talk about local, right? It's just like there's just a
This
lot.
is what we do.
So
Yeah.
This is what we
all
do.
this money that's put into this tournament, it's 100% turnaround. Nothing is kept. We make sure the bank accounts are basically wiped out. There's sometimes in the negative that we got to put out of pocket, but these donations get put out there regardless of how the tournament turns out. I'm glad that we've had 100% feedback on these tournaments, that everybody enjoys being out there. They're very family orientated. We got tons of family that show up there just to. We got even Winter Texans that show up just to do the raffles. We got a lot of sponsors that help us with the food and all that. So it helps out, and being able to donate to these organizations, multiple is what it's about. And we've been doing it for the last 8 years. So this will be the 9th year.
And so, where does someone go to register or sign up?
You can come to the TTB. I'll leave some sign up sheets at the tackle at Joe's place at the Hook, Line, and Sinker. And if not, you need to show up to the pre-registration, which will be on February the 13th. And then if you can't make it on the 13th, the pre-registration gets you a T-shirt.
Where's that at?
It'll be at the Knights of Columbus in Harlingen.
Okay.
And then March 12th will be the captain's meeting. And
There's
the
no online stuff?
No, I have not set it up online. Maybe you can help out with that.
We know some people.
You know some people we can help out with that.
we
I was going to say also, I mean, if y'all want to leave some stuff here.
I mean, we do take PayPal entries over phone, or what else do we take?
Cash App, Venmo, all that.
Cash. Is there a cash discount?
Hey, Tony, come into this because it's the tournament. So, you need to come here. So he's very involved with the tournament. He actually handles the weigh-in part of the tournament. So when you come into the tournament,
I don't want to stand up.
Stay seated.
stand up, Joe.
And then he's fucking wearing boots too.
He is. He's standing on his tippy toes.
Okay, so the thing about this tournament that makes it different, and I'm not gonna say I started it, but I noticed that more tournaments out there are starting to use our
Model.
Our model. Yeah, you're correct. So one thing we hear about a lot is, how do you keep the big boys out? Because we got people that competitive fish a lot. So how do you keep the big boys out? So we do a draw for the red and the trout. So last year was a 21-inch red, 21-inch trout. So, and I mean, first place.
Anybody can catch that.
So when you say draw, you mean you put just different sizes in there?
No,
and you
we'll
20.
Yeah, we'll run a number from 16 to 24. And we put chips in a bucket. We shake it up, pull it out for the red, and put it out for the trout.
Okay.
And then your trout can be whatever it is. That's your grand champion. And then, of course, we have the side pot, which is the heaviest red, heaviest trout. That's for the big boys that want to play with the heavy
pots.
money.
Yeah.
So
We do a catfish side pot.
The catfish.
Shout out to Pete Doglet for winning those.
The catfish is very
Oh,
popular.
I'm good
man.
at that one right there.
I mean, the catfish is actually very popular. It pays
Joe
off.
got pretty excited.
We paid,
I was like, wow, really?
Tell me more.
There was one year that the
paid
catfish
$600.
paid out like
Wow.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we do pay out a lot. This tournament pays out. I mean, it pays out as well as it gives, know. But it's just like you're here to have fun. You're here to win, and and like I said, you come in, you do the weigh station. We keep everything in the up and up. We don't hide anything. So you come in, you weigh in your fish. I ask you what you're gonna weigh in. We get it straightened out. You're gonna weigh in. You're gonna look at your weights. If you agree with me, you're gonna sign that ticket. You're gonna take your ticket to Tony. Tony puts it on the board right away. So your weights are up on the board from the minute you weigh in. So as soon as you come in and you're questioning, should I weigh in my fish, you're able to go to the board and see who's actually up on the leaderboard. We're not going to come back and say, we're going to go back and we're going to look at weights and then we'll tell you who won. No, on our thing, it's already up on the board.
It's alive, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
there.
it's 100% live. So, I mean, everything's up and up on the tournament.
So it sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds like if you
I'm actually gonna fish it, man. Yeah.
We got a live DJ. I mean, we got a big old flatbed. What is it? Flatbed trailer. We got a stage where you come up and get your prizes. We got a DJ.
Who's the DJ?
DJ
Tony?
Ray Cruz. No, DJ
Ray Cruz?
Ray Cruz and
Forever.
so he's been with us for the last 9 years as well.
Yeah, he wins at least 2 prizes every year.
Well,
At least.
I see that. The raffle tickets, right? No, but it's a great tournament, man, and I'm glad. I've been doing that with Fred for a while, and this is actually my first year to actually fish it, so I'm actually excited, man. It's gonna be exciting.
Fishing?
Yeah.
Well, with Jacob, but
God dang it.
Well, Jacob's included on that one, man.
Jacob
Hey,
said no.
Jacob, I didn't say this, but Fred said that there's a height limit.
Yeah, you gotta be at Tony's shoulder.
None of us would make that. Right?
Okay, I didn't say that, Jacob.
But you read it somewhere, right?
I read it somewhere.
In the
Come
rules,
on, Bill. Tell them what y'all look like.
in the fine print.
Come on, Bill, come over here. Man,
Bill, come here.
We're all good, man. We're all good. This is a good thing. I'm glad we did this, man.
This is Big Papa Bill right here, guys. So when y'all see him at the tournament, everybody say hi to him. These guys, they're gonna make sure the tournament stays straight.
And keep it organized. Yeah, keep it
He
good.
didn't know how this was gonna go.
If not, I'll give you the addresses. Nah, man, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great tournament. I'm happy to be. I've been sponsored, like Fred said, but I'm actually really happy and excited,
Hey,
man.
you've had your sponsored teams win a couple of times.
Yeah, but no, this time I want to do it, man. I want Fred to hand me the damn trophy.
Yeah. He'll make Tony do it. He's like, I'm not doing it.
Here you go.
Hey, I see Fred. Hey, it was only 3 pounds. It was fat, man.
It was 14.
Nah, man, it's all legit there, man.
No,
It's good.
there's a couple,
We joke around, but
yeah,
it's fun.
We got some other tournaments coming out that are also Knights of Columbus is coming out.
That's for an A, right?
Shadow Sport is coming out. Ron Hoover has a
Ron
big
Hoover's
tournament
coming
as
out
well.
with one. So
Dargo as well. Dargo has a tournament.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
It's gonna be a
man.
great
Like, it's
season,
gonna be
man.
like-
you know what? The boat
But it
show
starts at
is
the
the
boat show.
kickoff.
Yeah.
It starts off at the boat show.
I don't know. Is BDS doing theirs this year? After
I would think so.
Okay,
I would think so.
Well, look out
I
for
haven't heard anything yet.
look out for BDS as
Also,
well.
like
BDS.
Full Pop. I love
Full
that
Pop.
tournament.
Full Pop, yeah.
is also Enriquez. He's a good guy. That
Yeah,
guy.
he is.
He's got a real nice tournament that goes
Yeah,
on there.
really
You
got a
know,
good tournament
I
there.
want to win that belt, but
No joke. That's my goal since it started.
I made a belt, but it's just champion, but no.
It's getting bigger.
The belt or the tournament?
The bigger the belt.
So, but anyway, this season's kicking off in 2 weeks. I always see the boat shows the kickoff of everything. Come and support us, man. Come and support us. If you guys are really into competitive fishing, go see Fred and I'll have some entries at the shop too. So the Bonito tournament, just make this the biggest year, the biggest one for the 9th year. You said, Fred, it was 9th? Ninth year.
yeah, it's gonna be
Ninth
the
annual.
ninth annual.
9th annual. So let's make this one the biggest, and I can't wait till Fred gives me that trophy, man.
All right, I think that's a good way to end it right here.
Right, there we go, man. Let's do it.
So Joe said he's gonna win it. So thanks again,
job.
guys, for watching. I know
Jacob's gonna
we
kick
had
ass.
Jacob's mad. Like he put some little mad red face emojis. So
Jacob, you want to go fishing?
That's his actual face, and not emojis.
He's mad on-
I didn't say anything, bro.
Jacob, what'd you do to these guys? But anyways, we're gonna stop it here before it gets ugly, and that was my job, and so I kind of let it get carried away. But anyways, thanks again, guys, for watching. Man, people watched this the entire time, so
That's awesome, man.
I
That's
think
awesome.
I think it was Fabian this time. No,
There you go.
no, it was definitely our
Beautiful
guest here.
man.
It was definitely our guest watching you
Yeah,
guys.
for
But thanks
sure.
again, guys, for tuning in for it's 10:30.
Oh, crap.
It's late at night.
I guess
So
I'm not having
I'm
dinner.
sorry we messed up your Friday night, Tony.
this is it.
Hey, best,
But anyways,
It's
guys,
legit.
we'll see you on the next one. I don't know when
Thank
the next
y'all.
one is,
That was
but
gonna
thanks
be
again,
like
guys.
20 minutes anyway, so. Awesome.
In my mind, I've got 'em big red on the line. That's where I go when I'm itching to feed my 7-day addiction.